Welcome to Fredericksburg, Texas. We are here with the Planetary Society at Eclipse-O-Rama for the total solar eclipse. We've got a little bit of a cloudy sky here today, but, you know, we're here for it, whatever we get. So, hi, everybody. I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, and I'm joined here today with Bill Nye from the Planetary Society. Welcome, Bill.
It's so good to be here.
Yeah.
And we're in Fredericksburg, right in the middle of the path of total eclipse. It's cloudy right now, but I've, spoken with some people, so we're expecting it to clear up.
Actually, right when you said that, I started to see a shadow for the first time.
We had shadows earlier, and it is cool. When it, like even right now, if you put on the glasses, you can see the disk of the sun, and having the clouds go between us and it is dramatic.
Yeah.
Even more dramatic. So it's great.
It really is. And, people, I don't think people always understand, too, the difference between, why a total solar, I have friends that are right now trying to drive, like 2 more hours to see, like, from 80 to 90%. I'm like, no, guys, you either got to go all or nothing for this.
Yeah.
And why is that? Why is that all or nothing just so impactful?
Well, I think we've spent a lot of time as humans with cloudy days. Many of us have seen or been around when it went from day to night, and so we've experienced that often. But when you're in the middle of the day, lunchtime, and it turns to night, it really is spectacular. And the other thing that's spectacular for me is the extraordinary accuracy with which we can predict something like this, less than 100th of a second.
Yeah.
And as the saying goes, if you had a tarot card reader or who else would you have? A psychic who could do something like that. That person would be presumably a very successful psychic, but there ain't no such thing. Whereas astronomers, there is such a thing.
Yeah.
And so in humankind, we are part of it. It's exciting.
It's very exciting. And the other thing that people, I don't think quite realize is that the big difference is once it's a total eclipse, it's safe to take off solar glasses if you're in the path of totality.
Yes.
And that's a view to behold right there. That's like the ultimate view is when the sun is fully eclipsed to actually be able to take off your glasses and hopefully even see some corona. So we'll see here today if it's going to be clear enough for us. Wear protection, my friends.
Yeah, wear the protection. These are about 100,000 times darker than these.
Oh, wow.
And so, these are good sunglasses, but they ain't nothing compared to eclipse glasses. And so it's really important. And the whole thing is, I think everybody has glanced at the sun.
Right.
You catch a fly ball, for example, or a flying disc. You look at the sun for a moment. But the thing with an eclipse is you just want to stare at it.
Yeah.
Just want to watch it happen.
Yeah.
And see, we've got sun right now. We got shadows right now. So it's gonna work out here in Texas.
Yeah. And do you remember the time of of first contact? I don't quite remember. I think it's like 12.
First contact. Yeah.
It's just afternoon for us.
I was going to say 12:07 or something like that, and it's anyway.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it's so first contact when the disk of the moon just comes across the disk of the sun, and there was last week. It was decided that the sun's diameter had been overestimated by a little bit, so they adjusted the path by 2,000 feet, English units on each side. So you guys, that's less than 2 laps around the high school track. But astronomers can give you those kind of numbers. It's really fantastic.
Yeah, that is incredible. Are there any science things that you know of going on during the eclipse? Because I know that there's going to be some study of the ionosphere, is my understanding. There's a few other exciting things.
Well, the big thing is you get a natural coronagraph. You get a natural sun-blocking disk, which then enables scientists with telescopes and these gizmos to assess the coronal mass ejections of solar flares, and also the part of the sun's radiation that is not in the visible spectrum, ultraviolet and infrared, that we don't see with our eyes, and they can evaluate it when you have this nice moon between us and our life-giving star.
Yeah. You were there for the 2017 eclipse in Nebraska, I believe.
Yes.
Share that experience, because if I remember right, it was cloudy about like this.
It was a little less cloudy than this, but it was cloudy, and then it cleared up, and there we were. It was fantastic. And when I was in South Africa in 2002, it was cloudy, and then it cleared up.
Really?
And there's been speculation, that right under right where the temperature changes in the shadow, that the lifting condensation level of the clouds changes, for those moments. I'm open-minded, of course. But we are very hopeful. And regardless, it's going to get dark.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. You can guarantee it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, psychics, tarot card readers, you can't do anything like that.
That's the one thing it's just bizarre to be able to, within milliseconds or hundreds of seconds to say that, boom, all of a sudden it's
There are some perturbations, I guess, from asteroids. So, you make your best estimate, but a little bit of gravity from some other object can throw you off a thousandth of a second. I don't have to tell you. We've all been there with that. Am I right?
That's awesome.
That's irony, everybody.
And by the way, for the chat, everyone watching, we actually have the ability. We're going to be bringing questions on air. So if you have questions for Bill, but we also have 2 other Planetary Society scientists that will be joining us here kind of at the top of the hour and then at 12:30 our time local. So we're Central Standard Time. You can see that on the screen in the top left. So get your questions ready. We'll pull them right from the YouTube chat here. So if you have some exciting questions, I know this is one of those things that I think a lot of people they have a sense of kind of what's going on, but there's always a few lingering questions, I feel like, that people bring up often.
So what I'm hopeful today, hope's not a plan, but you mentioned 2017, just the way it worked, the altitude of the sun relative to where we were. As the moon moved past the sun, as seen from Earth, there were 2 spots of light from the sun. 2 spots of light, and one says to oneself, how could there be 2 spots of light? There were mountains on the moon, and the sun was going through the mountain peaks, through the valley on the moon.
That's pretty spectacular.
Oh, yeah. It's just something unexpected.
Yeah. But also expected.
Yes. Well said.
In some ways, yeah.
Yeah, very predictable if you were into lunar topography, the way some
prepared.
people are.
Yeah, if you were so prepared, you would.
Well, people are, for sure.
Exactly.
Plus, after the fact, you go, oh, that's right.
I do love those kind of things where you have that kind of question of like, now why did that happen?
Oh,
and
man.
Then
it makes the world, that's science.
Yeah, that is science. Yeah. Exactly.
But the other thing, everybody, is the scale of it. We have mountains here on Earth, and we're in this part of central eastern Texas called hill country. But these are hills, man.
Yeah.
On the moon, you have mountains kilometers high. I mean, just enormous things that, they've been there for billions of years. There's no erosion. And so when total solar eclipse, you could see light coming through the valley. It's amazing.
Yeah. It really is. And we're going to have our tracking telescopes that we normally use for rockets. Like we're slowing them down today big time.
You have to slow them way down.
But that's actually kind of the fun thing about them, that we have the ability to, use these for multiple things. And of course, our cameras are protected as well, the lenses by
thought of that.
By solar filters.
Good,
so we're not
good
totally,
idea.
Going to fry
You weren't just jamming there.
Exactly. So yeah, we've got those. And so if you're doing the same thing at home, make sure also if you have you should have a solar lens protector, filter on your cameras as well, because that, especially if they're magnified, if you're using any kind of magnification will just basically think of like a magnifying glass and frying ants. It's quite literally the same.
Not that you've ever done that.
Not that I may or may not have started some fires as a kid with a magnifying glass.
Yeah,
so
well, that's different. So anyway, I presume Tim's still over there. When you got these things on, you just can't see. It's really spectacular.
Yeah, but it is important to remember that your sensitive electronics they're just like your eyeballs. They're not going to be too happy at you if you do that too long.
If you overblast them.
Exactly. So we've got one more question for you here before we get you out of here, because you got to get back up to that main stage.
Oh, big and important main stage. You joking me? No, it's cool. So we have several hundred people here of the Planetary Society who've driven here, flown here on a plane to experience the so-called shared experience that we'll have today.
Yeah, so as these are all Planetary Society members and supporters and stuff, but obviously I've been a Planetary Society member for something 10 or 15 years. I don't even know how long it's been forever. But for those that would like to support the work that the Planetary Society does, how do they do that?
Go to planetary.org. World's largest independent space interest organization advancing space science and exploration so that citizens of Earth will know the cosmos and our place within it. Elevator door closes. Check us out at planetary.org. Thanks for having me,
Yes,
Tim.
my pleasure. We'll see you up there on stage.
See you in a little while.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So we're going to take a few more questions and just kind of hang out here. And let's see. So so I like these questions because this is my favorite thing about these live streams is you guys are going to just be asking me fun questions. We're going to be hanging out, and obviously, like I said, most of this is going to be Tim Dodd, theterribleweatherman.com, because I'm basically going to be like, oh, the sky's blue there, but cloudy there. So you're in for a real, trust me, you're in for a real treat. But yeah, so this is a great question here from Craig, and actually I made a video on this way back in the day. Craig asked, and by the way, thank you so much for your 23 months of membership. Will the ISS be able to see the eclipse or look down at the shadow cast onto the Earth? The answer is both, if it was within the path. So here's the thing. Don't forget it has to line up at some point, and we'd have to look at where the ISS is. But if the ISS it's depending on its phase, so it takes 90 minutes to orbit the Earth on the ISS, the International Space Station. So if depending on where it's at in its orbit, if it does fly over, we should look this up actually. We can go to issabove.com, I believe, issabove.com, and let's see here. I'll try to find out kind of where it is right now. This will give us a sense of where it's at this exact moment, or maybe it's where is ISS. This is the kind of stuff. Where is the ISS now? There we go. NASA.gov. Heavens Above has it as well. Yeah. I'm super curious because now I'm curious, and this is the fun part about doing this kind of stuff. All right. So they are currently over Africa. Like I said, it takes about 90 minutes. The eclipse is beginning to happen. The totality will beginning. They might actually. Oh, they're flying a little far north. Their path this time goes over about Washington, and so don't forget the Earth is still spinning underneath this orbit of the International Space Station. The International Space Station is at 51.6 degrees inclination, so it's a little more than a 45-degree angle. So imagine if it was equatorial, it means it would go right around the equator. This is tilted beyond that. If it's 90 degrees, it'd be going straight over the poles, north and south. This is kind of somewhere in between the two, 51.6 degrees. And what's happening then? So on the path today, where it's going to be traversing, it does not go right over mainland United States. But you know what? This might line up that they'd get the first little bit as it's going over that bit of Canada and Montreal and things. So that would be really cool. I'm bad at predicting this. I probably should have thought about this exact question ahead of time. But the other thing is if, again, assuming they're within the path, because it's literally just all about your, your alignment relative to where the moon is in the sky and where the sun is at the sky. Obviously, that's why there's an area that gets to see the total eclipse and an area that does not get to see a total solar eclipse. So, yeah, that's a great question, but it looks like today they might. I'm curious. I almost want to check back in on that later and see where that the orbit's actually at the time, because it's coming down from northeast. We'll see it first, and then we'll see it kind of last here in the further south. So yeah, like we said though, we do have a lot of people. There's about 800 people out here today that have joined us with the Planetary Society as well. Which is super fun because it's funny because I was actually at the event in 2017 as a passerby or as just hanging out, and it was really fun for me to be able to go and see the crowd of people there in Nebraska, and so to be part of this production team now today is pretty exciting, and it's a pretty big honor. So thank you to all of you for watching along with me, and yeah, like I said, we've got quite a ways here before we actually get into the eclipse as well. So the first contact will be beginning we're less than 30 minutes away from first contact, and assuming the sky clears up just a little bit, you can tell here in the views there now that it's not looking the best right now, but it's weird. These big pockets will come around, and all it takes is one of those big pockets to really make our day. Because that's like I said, that's the other thing that's exciting is it's not just it's not the fact that it goes dark, but it's the fact that when it is in totality, being able to look up at the sun and see it, and it's just this black, it's just the most crazy looking thing in the world. I barely kind of got a glimpse of it. We were mostly clouded out in Nebraska when I was there, but so it's I don't know. I'm hoping that we at least get a few good 10, give me 10 or 20 seconds where I can see the full thing going. That would be absolutely ideal. All right, so I'm going to take some more of you guys' questions. And again, remember to keep these questions going in your queues as well, because I'm not spoiler, I'm not an astronomer, a planetary scientist. I'm not any of those things, but we will be having actual scientists, like people that have worked on NASA's Mars rovers and things like that, coming to join me here on set as well. So keep those questions in mind, and we'll be sure to get them up on screen. So for certain things that are not spaceflight related, which most of this isn't, because this is not a spaceflight event. Weird. Everyday astronaut covering a not spaceflight event. I wonder if this is going to win an Astro Award. What if we gave the top Astro Award this next year to the Sun and the Moon? We'll try to invite them out, but I don't know. I don't even know. All right, so so I don't think this is true at all from Ishan asking, why is the eclipse cycles 18 years specifically? What about the orbital pass makes it 18 and a bit? It's I don't think it is 18 years. I don't know of anything that's 18, or is it supposed to be, yeah, maybe 18 months. It's, well, the big thing, you just have to think about, like, almost, I don't know if any of you are musicians and think about polyrhythms or anything that, or even divisible numbers. Let's say you have the number 40 and you have, or let's say you have the number 8 and the number 5. How often, if you're counting up, how often do those two actually match up into those divisibles? It gets to 40. So every, by the time you get to 40, 8 and 5 realign. Otherwise, they're off. You can think of it that same way with the sun and the moon. The moon is orbiting the Earth. And don't forget that, the moon is actually, when you think of how far away it is, it's so much, the scale of the Earth to the moon is so much like if you had a marble the size of the Earth and then a really tiny little marble, like a BB the size of the moon, because it's about a sixth the size of the Earth. If you held them up, you would think maybe they're about this far away, sorry, I don't know if I'm even on screen right now, so you can't even, you might think that, like, oh, the Earth and the moon are about this far away. The reality is, to scale of a marble, the Earth and the moon are about 3 feet, about a meter apart from each other. And it's just really, the odds of that always being where it actually does eclipse the sun is actually quite rare, and it's at its own inclination as well. So it has to be like, all these things have to align. So again, kind of think about divisible numbers. All of them have to align in order to have the moon actually eclipse the sun. So it's just almost like it's like a resonance thing. It's like, oh, this is orbiting this, and we're orbiting the sun. It actually has very little to do with us orbiting the sun. It's really just, it has to do with when the moon, when it's daylight on Earth, and when that happens. So it does happen on average every 18 months, though. So yeah, not 18 years. That's the big thing. I was gonna say I don't think it's 18 years, but yeah, but that is about every 18 months, and that's just that kind of that resonance of when those things happen to align. So kind of cosmic coincidence, but also just kind of the mathematics. Oh, but a particular, wait, what? A what? Sorry, I'm hearing the producer in my ear. Certain solar eclipses are every 18 years. This is a great question that I'll probably have to ask one of the astronomers, because again, that ain't me. I'm just your friendly host here to have commentary that would normally be talking about rockets. All right, so this is another really good one that we got to save for a planetary scientist and someone that is not me. Let's see. This is a great question here from Mr. Banana. Now I can answer this one. What other parts of the world will be able to see the eclipse, whether total or just partial, like Western Europe, UK, Scotland? So if you look up like just 2024 total solar eclipse map, you'll actually see, NASA has a really good one that will show you. You can put in your location and it'll tell you how much will be visible. So, yeah, and you can see the penumbra, which is like the and also, yeah, that's right, planetary.org/eclipse.org/eclipse has a really, really, really good one that will allow you to literally know exactly where at, too. So, yeah, explore the 2024 map, and then you can just literally put in, like, where you are, and it'll show you. Unfortunately, it will not reach any part of Europe at all. Oh, this is a really good one. Thank you, Planetary Society. This is the kind of stuff that they do. So it's coming in. Yeah, you unfortunately will not see any of it in Europe, but you will all the way down even like Colombia, basically, almost. Panama will see some partial eclipse. So it's pretty widespread, but doesn't quite make it into most, mainland Alaska, though, at all either. So pretty widespread, but the totality, the path of totality, if you haven't looked at it yet, is pretty much going from northeast United States down through Texas and then out Mexico. So, yeah, that's this is a good one though. The amount of time spent in the eclipse today will be, almost 4.5 minutes, and that's or just over 4 minutes. That's a long time, like for a total solar eclipse like that. We're pretty much right in the best spot here in Fredericksburg. So, really, really excited about that. Okay, so from British Columbia, there we go. So this is from Brian saying, pouring rain in southwestern British Columbia. So glad to be able to view this solar eclipse with you all from rainy British Columbia, Canada. Hello to our other Planetary Society members. That's awesome, Brian. Yeah, it is too bad that it's, if you look at a map today of the weather, a lot of the United States is in pretty heavy cloud cover today. And as a matter of fact, we were up at Eclipse Fest up in Burnett, Texas, about an hour and a half earlier this weekend on Friday and Saturday. So we were preparing for that. We had some is the Texas Eclipse Fest. Yeah, thank you. And it was a huge event. So get this. So we were told like, oh yeah, you guys we have the space stage. So I did a keynote there. I did a panel and played some music with Test Shot Starfish on the space stage. And I'm like, oh, this will be awesome, And they're like, yeah, we've sold 40,000 tickets. And I'm like, 40,000 tickets? I just couldn't even believe it. We were not at all prepared for what we were getting into. We had no idea. It was full blown like Burning Man. They had 40,000 people in this beautiful like hill area of Texas that looked a lot like Mars. Actually, it was like this really red, dusty dirt clay everywhere. And so everything, like all of us humans and everything around us was just covered in this red dust. And we were surrounded by a full-blown like festival, like a music festival, 100%. And we were not prepared for it at all. We had no idea what we were getting into. And it was really fun. But sadly, they actually are now under a tornadic activity warning. And so they're actually evacuating. So this festival is supposed to go all the way like Monday and Tuesday as well. And they are evacuating that after the eclipse. They're actually asking people to start packing up now to have a nice, safe evacuation. They're going to give partial refunds and stuff to people that did attend. I think we're luckier than that, at least. We're not dealing with that, but we're still dealing with some of that weather. But again, like I said, from where I'm sitting, it is starting to get a little bit more and more blue sky. I think you see in the shot there that it is starting to clear up just a little bit, and that's all we need. All we need is just those little windows, for about 4 minutes would be just absolutely perfect. Let's see here. Here we go. We got a link here from Craig Johnson. Thank you so much, Craig. The comedian and mathematician Matt Parker does a great explanation of the 18-year cycle. There we go. Watch that. Search it. Put it in your watch later list on YouTube. Matt Parker, Eclipse. There you go. That's great tip there. Thank you so much, Craig, for that. Really, really, really appreciate it. Let's see. What kind of data? Okay, so what kind of data can scientists and astronomers get from an eclipse? So there's actually a few things. So, obviously we have talked, there's been talk about, creating spacecraft that create, where you block out the sun a little bit so you can study the corona easier. Because obviously anytime you have, if you're pointing anything at the sun, you're just going to get just blasted by light. And if you're trying to study the edges, it's almost impossible to do that without blocking out a majority of that oncoming light. So, there's been spacecraft that have, put up like a disk and stuff like that, but that's all fine and good. But when it's the moon and you have every scope available to you, within that path, you can really, really, really look and study the corona with every different kind of instrument that we have to our array. So visible light and all the different light spectrums. But the big thing that's really cool too is as the moon, casts a shadow like that, we can actually, I believe NASA is actually sending up a few sounding rockets to help study the ionosphere. So, obviously we go through a day-night cycle all the time. Like like every 12 hours, huh? Isn't that weird? Well, the Earth goes through a day-night cycle. And so that's nothing new. Like, obviously, going into darkness is not anything crazy. However, going from, like, being able to study weather patterns in that very specific region and that very specific everything, like, there's so many little things even just in that. Even just in, like, oh, this part was now, warmed up midday temperature, midday sun. All of a sudden, it gets cooled down incredibly. Like, what happens? And then spikes back up. Like, you just have a new set of data that we can study. We can use that even for literally like our weather models. We can use that for so many things that smarter than me people are going to be doing. And I'm realizing it's so funny. I always think like, I know a little bit about this stuff. Obviously I'm a science nerd. But even as we're like talking about this stuff, it makes me realize just how not an astronomer I am, which is perfect. So I'm the perfect host for today's live stream. No, but the reality is it's just one of these things too. If you haven't ever viewed a total solar eclipse, that it is just something extra spectacular. It's not the same thing as a partial eclipse. For those of my friends and family back home in Iowa, sorry, you guys are going to get a partial eclipse. It's just not the same. It is simply not. And the craziest thing I think is just there's a guttural reaction that can happen to a lot of people where it's coming. You scientifically know, you've seen pictures, you do all this stuff, but for some reason it helps like the scale of the universe that we're in our own solar system when all of a sudden this beautiful like cosmic dance just happens right in front of your own eyes. It just feels, you just want to shout and scream, and you feel very primitive almost, and the birds and the animals start going crazy because they think it's nighttime. They have no idea what's going on, and they're just going wild. And it's just this like weird thing, and to experience that with a bunch of other people is also what makes it. That's one of those things that I enjoy a lot. It's kind of almost like our own overview effect here on Earth, where you get a sense of where we are on this planet, you get a sense of where we are in the solar system, and you just get this appreciation for, wow, isn't that just simply amazing? That's why I make it a big deal to try and see. I'm gonna try. I always try to travel. I was gonna try to go to the one in South America a few years ago. It just did not work out. But it is something magical. And if you haven't done one before or seen one before, make an effort. You have I think about 20 plus years to prepare for the next one here in the United States. But yeah, there's and it is just worth traveling. It is worth traveling to see. Well, thank you so much to people with super chats and stuff. We greatly appreciate that. We are going to be bringing on some more guests that will answer your questions as well, which is greatly necessary because, as I said, I am no planetary scientist. I am no planetary scientist, no planetary scientist, and I am just happy to be with a bunch of smart people that are going to tell me all about a lot of things. But let's see. This is from Michael. Says, Tim, now that it's after 12 p.m., keep watching the moon beginning to cross the line of the sun. Yes, the first contact here is 12:15 our time. It is 12:02, and so we're waiting here for first contact. And again, hopefully, as soon as the sun, hopefully it starts to clear up a little bit. But to talk a little bit more about all of this fun stuff, I'm joined here with Bethany, President of the Planetary Society. Bethany, welcome.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
Oh, how exciting is this?
This is pretty cool. And, the wind's whipping up behind us, which I'm hoping, fingers crossed, is going to work in our favor to blow some of these clouds out. There's some blue sky peeking out, so
I was going to say,
here's hoping.
Same thing happened when Bill sat down. As soon as we're talking about it, boom, sunlight and shadow. And
we'll see what we get.
I mean, and we have, on our end here, we got about an hour and 30 minutes, an hour and a half left before we get into totality. But we're only 13 minutes away from first contact.
That's right.
That's right.
It's all very exciting.
It is. Okay, so give me a rundown on what you do, because you have a long list of incredible things that you've done and worked on. So give us all a rundown on who you are and what you do with Planetary Society.
Well, so I am the president of the Planetary Society, and thrilled to be part of our board of directors that, helps to steer the organization to explore worlds, to search for life, defend Earth.
Absolutely.
Joy to be part of this board. But I mean, my path to getting here is I started as a student working on Mars rover missions. Spirit and Opportunity was the first mission I ever worked on, and that just bit the planetary science, planetary science bug bit me.
Yes.
Worked on Mars orbiters, and I'm now leading a Lunar Trailblazer mission to the moon that launches later this year, actually, from Cape Canaveral.
Really? What mission is that?
So it's called Lunar Trailblazer. It's
Okay.
a NASA small satellite mission. We're a orbiter that will go around the moon to map water on the moon.
Oh, wow.
Water, minerals, and temperature.
Really?
So Lunar Trailblazer is going to study the lunar water cycle and provide information on the form, abundance, and distribution of water on the moon, which will answer a lot of science questions about water on airless bodies, which was something we never expected,
Right.
even
To be possible?
15, 20 years ago. That wasn't something you talked about.
Right.
But with discoveries, that is something we talk about not only for science, but also for human exploration and then the resources it might afford. So really excited, looking forward to that. But I'm a geologist by training. So if there's a solid planetary surface in this solar system, I'm there studying it.
That's amazing. So with sorry, what was the name of the mission again already?
Lunar Trailblazer.
Lunar Trailblazer.
Yeah.
What is it going into a polar orbit of the moon? Is it, or what's its
Right.
orbit?
So, okay, a little bit of the mission profile.
Yeah.
Lunar Trailblazer is a ride share. So we ride along to space with the Intuitive Machines Lunar Lander #2.
Oh, awesome.
We're one of 3 different missions hosted on the payload.
Wow.
Just shortly after launch, within an hour or two of launch, that we separate, and then we make our own way to the moon with our own propulsion system. Over the course, we're small but mighty, so we have to though take the low energy transfer trajectory. So it's a matter of months, not days.
Yep.
And then we insert into a polar orbit, 100-kilometer science orbit, where we'll be doing targeted mapping of water, minerals, and temperature on the surface.
Wow. That's going to be incredible, especially with the Artemis program, obviously, and humans coming up to be on the surface of the moon in the relatively near future, hopefully. Knowing where water is at is one of those resources that's...
Absolutely. I hope that we provide the base maps for the landed missions, robotic and human to come.
That's amazing. I didn't even realize that Intuitive Machines Flight 2 was happening so quickly already.
That's right. It's coming up.
Wow, good for them. I love that. So we've had a lot of people asking questions, and it is hilarious because I am by no means any kind of astronomer or anything.
Well, neither am I. I'm a geologist.
Oh, great.
Well, let's see how we do.
Let's see how we do, because
do.
We've got some fun things. So, are you familiar with Bailey's beads at all?
I am not.
Okay.
I'm going to call pass. But
Okay.
you have Heidi Hammel up here. You should ask her.
Okay. Yes, she's coming up next. Okay.
All right, we're going to pass that to
All right.
Heidi.
All right. Well, in that case, we'll keep a lot of those more astronomy ones for her. Okay. So, in that case, what types of things are you hoping that we can do here scientifically, at least during the eclipse?
Well, you know what? I'll give you a tidbit though about something I do know about eclipses that's maybe a little bit different. So for spacecraft, solar-powered spacecraft in the solar system, eclipses are a big deal. In fact, they're the stressing power case. So we spent a lot of time on Lunar Trailblazer making sure that we could survive the deepest, longest eclipse over the duration from 2024 to the end of 2027. So it turns out it's hours long, and our batteries and everything about our power system is optimized to survive a solar eclipse.
A solar eclipse on the moon, or
when we're
at
en route
the moon.
to the moon, because the moon then gets in
Eclipse.
between, or the Earth gets in
Yes,
between sometimes the sun and the spacecraft. So you have to do all of the calculations for the entire period that we're traversing through space, that we're in orbit around the moon, and figure out what is the worst case. And then that's the driving, engineering worst case for the entire power system is an eclipse. So, fun fact.
I would have never thought of that in my entire life.
Yeah, it matters.
Although, what's funny? We were setting up out here, and for our stream, we're actually primarily leaning on Starlink, which obviously is, thousands of satellites orbiting at low Earth orbit. And we were actually told by SpaceX that, hey, just so you know, we were talking to them about this use case and everything. They're like, well, just so you know, we might actually have a slight decrease in our power capacity and our transmission, because we rely on, we design these things to, during the day, they get X amount of power and produce X amount of bandwidth, and then it'll be nighttime for them for 4 minutes.
Yeah,
so
they might go into low power mode.
They might go into low power mode.
We'll see what happens to the transmission.
Exactly. So I'm sitting there going,
it's a science experiment.
It is like the one thing that I'm like, well, finally, you can rely on Starlink. We're in the middle of nowhere. This is perfect for Starlink. And then the one thing that's just going to take it out is
solar-powered spacecraft need the sun. Imagine that.
Spacecraft.
Imagine that.
Oh, but hopefully we have backups. We've got other things that hopefully you guys don't notice anything on your end. But it was just one of those things of like, of course.
Yep.
That's absolutely crazy. And we're 5 minutes away now from first contact.
It's coming. It's coming. And look at that. There's a little patch of blue sky out there.
There is, and
I got the glasses ready.
I was gonna say we always need to remind people that if you are gonna be peeking up, be looking through the glasses, of course. And we've got our scopes out there. Everything has a solar filter on it.
That's a good setup.
Yeah, so we track rockets with those normally. So we're
So
slowing
the
them down
sun's
today.
easy.
Yeah, sun's super easy.
Moving slower.
What's great is now we have our friend Colin made these custom controllers, so you just literally have rate knobs now.
Okay.
So you can just dial in the slew of both axes and just it makes tracking the sun look like it's stationary now.
Yeah.
So it's perfect. We did it for rockets because rockets you also just match the rates of it and get this nice smooth motion. But for the sun, it's like, oh dang, this is actually fantastic
Doing it.
Yeah, both on twofold here. So, have you seen a full solar eclipse before?
No, this is going to be my first total
Really?
solar eclipse. So
No
super
way.
excited.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Yeah.
so you were not there. Because you just how long have you been with the Planetary Society then?
I've been on the board since 2017, a member of the society since I was a student in 2004, I think. So
Wow.
20-year anniversary.
Wow.
20-year
that's awesome.
anniversary, I get to go see a total solar
That's
eclipse
what it takes,
as
I
the president
guess.
of the Planetary Society.
That's amazing.
Pretty fun, right?
That is incredible.
Pretty
That's
fun.
that is the ultimate
Pretty fun.
ladder of trajectory there. That's incredible. I was with the Planetary Society in 2017 at the Nebraska event that they put on. And it's funny, we were so nervous about traffic that we left that event to be like, let's just get closer towards the interstate because it was really remote, kind of like this, like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
We're like, let's just get away from the big crowd. We'll drive about 20 miles outside of this. We got completely clouded out.
Oh.
The eclipse, the Planetary Society event was perfect. They had this perfect view for the full duration, and we got like just patchy. Yeah. So, moral of the story is I should have stuck with the Planetary Society.
Stick with the Planetary
The entire
Society.
time.
I have to say, because either way, whether it's clouds or sun, we're going to get darkness.
Yeah.
And either way, it's just been a joy to be here with all of our members, hundreds of people excited about space. I mean, this is the space party. It's the place to be.
It is.
It's the place to be. The joy is palpable.
It really, and it's incredible. And I keep trying to explain on air that people don't necessarily understand that. A lot of people have probably seen a partial eclipse, and it is very exciting and it's very cool, but it's like the graph goes from like cool to like almost impossibly cool. Like you really can't even imagine how cool back down to like cool. It's like this huge jump in excitement. And that is even like if you're 5 miles from the board. Like I feel so bad for people that are gonna be like 5 miles from the path of totality. And, and they just maybe they don't
get in it.
Maybe they don't realize that like that extra little tiny bit of distance is everything.
Okay, so you've experienced a total eclipse.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So it's we didn't really see too well. We got a little bit of footage, through the patchy clouds. Didn't really get to see it with our naked eye too well at all. Like maybe like 5 seconds,
Yeah.
But the darkness thing was cool enough to just. I mean, it was nuts. You can just see it all, like just to watch it. You almost just see the whole thing, like someone just
rolling in.
It's wild. It's not like a sunset because a sunset, like this light that kind of slowly fades. It's almost just like, whoa, and just feels unnatural.
Yeah. Well, super excited to experience it here and to be here with our Planetary Society members. So, I mean, if you like space, this is the place to be. Become a part of the Planetary Society, and when the next one rolls around,
yes,
it's not for a little while, but when the next one rolls around, come join us.
Well, and even not for that, but where else, if you want to just support at home, and if you are become a Planetary Society member, how do people do that?
Yeah, just go to our website, planetary.org, and you can go to the member button, the donate button.
Yep.
And sign up for one of those recurring memberships. So it's just kind of like, you buy a cup of coffee a month and you help us out. You help advocate for space, advocate for more rocket launches, more science from space, more spacecraft, and more space education. And,
Absolutely.
And we need science. We need science in this country, and we need to share that passion, beauty, and joy.
It's really a uniting thing, that brings people together.
Exploration unites. I mean,
100%.
coming up, we've got our Day of Action, April 28th, 29th in Congress, where we're going to be advocating for the scientific priorities for Mars sample return, exploration of Venus, building the Habitable Worlds Observatory, all of those things that let us explore all of the worlds and continued U.S. leadership in space. And you know what? No matter whose office you walk into, Democrat or Republican, everyone's excited about space. It is one of those things that unites us. And that is baked into our American DNA,
we need to be
that exploration.
Absolutely, and we need that squeaky wheel to keep, to keep those people reminding,
That's right.
We need people literally knocking on doors, in government saying, make this a priority. Remember, this is important.
We often think that we cannot do anything ourselves. Oh, it's all happening over in Washington. But the reality is, there's a count, in congressional offices and in your representative, your senator. They're keeping track of who's calling in, who's talking about the issues, and issues that get more calls, get more attention, they get more staffer time, and ultimately they get smarter funding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
it matters.
Yeah, it really does.
You can change the world by working together.
Absolutely. So planetary.org, we actually have /everyday is our direct link here to make it nice and easy for you guys. Planetary.org/everyday. Thank you so much. And
yeah, pleasure.
We'll see you up on stage, I think, and hopefully
I will be up there.
Here's guys.
Hopefully.
Oh my God.
Here's hoping.
Here is hoping. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
All right, so we're gonna kind of keep hanging out here. We are we're coming up actually already on First Contact, and it looks like we actually have a freaking shot. Is that our shot? That is our shot. That is incredible. Oh, that is cool. So we're actually gonna. This is fun. I am proud of our team out here. Just really excited to be out here, and I'm thankful that you guys are joining us here. So, like I said, First Contact is coming up here. So it should be happening like any second. I don't know which direction it's going to be from. If it's top, bottom, left, or right, where the moon will first begin to eclipse the sun there. But hopefully we can keep our scope on it as clouds may come through. But that is just fantastic. I mean, how cool is this? I mean, it's clearing up, and I'm getting excited. Mary Liz over there. By the way, our team, we have a team out here of 9 running our stream. So just in chat, if you guys want to say thank you for helping put this on. It's been we've been out here for multiple days. Oh, here we go. First Contact. 3, 2, 1. Get your glasses ready. I'm gonna take a look up here, and of course, wearing eye protection. Take a look here. I can't see it yet myself, but I don't see it yet. Maybe our scope can see it better than I can. We're trying to get a little bit closer here. By the way, we've got multiple scopes. A little bit on the right, it looks like. Yeah, just a tiny bit. All right, let me take a look with my eyeballs again. I can't quite tell. Man, that is awesome that I love that it's clearing up and we can see. I mean, this is, I was so nervous when it was like, the forecast was looking like it was just going to be cloudy. And that way, by the way, to my north is like all blue skies. So this is looking good for a lot of us here. There you go. You can definitely see it all right at like 3 o'clock. Oh my gosh. That's so incredible. Yes, that is exciting. It's fun too. I love that we are here with a live crowd in the background. You can kind of see in some of our shots that you see a crowd of about 800 people out here in Fredericksburg, and really fun that to have that live experience with people like cheering and stuff. I will try really hard to not get emotional and all that stuff, but it is really fun when this stuff happens. So people are already getting excited. Oh, I'm so glad that we actually have a shot of this too, because it's harder than it looks, and with the clouds, we just did not know if we were gonna get anything today. Wow, it's moving through there pretty quick. All right, time to look back with my eyeballs again. Oh, orientation-wise for me, it looks lower. That is awesome. Oh, that's so weird. That's just one of those things. Like, what are the odds? What are the odds that the moon is 1,000 times smaller but 1,000 times closer, and therefore it's almost the exact same size to our eyeballs in the sky as the sun. I love that kind of stuff. It makes me excited. It makes me feel happy and fortunate to live here on this beautiful planet with all of you wonderful people. And man, that is This is from Tyler. Good to hear from you, Tyler. 11 months of membership. Thanks for the amazing coverage. What you and your amazing team does is incredible. Thank you so much. If you're just joining us, this channel, we typically cover rocket scientists. And our scopes back, telescopes, tracking telescopes that are normally pointed at the world's biggest and most exciting rocket launches. This is a little bit slower pace here today. We have a little bit more time to dial this stuff in and soak it up. But it's still extremely exciting nonetheless. So I'm just excited to be covering it with you guys and hanging out. I mean, we're just here for the long haul, my friends. We got a little ways here. We got over an hour until it actually reaches totality. So, all right. So, and just if you guys are noticing some latency issues, we're working on that now. So, all right. So this is thank you so much to Captain Joey as well. Saying that he can't wait for the solar eclipse. Yeah. This is also from Michael Maxey saying first lunar contact on right edge of the sun. Yeah, it's pretty crazy that you can just watch it encroach upon the sun there. I mean, that is so incredible. Wouldn't it be how it would freak us all out so much if all of a sudden she's like, yeah, never mind, and just like turns around. Like, wait, how did that happen? Wow. I'm so glad to see shadows right now too, by the way. That's something that this morning, it's funny, this morning when we woke up it was like blue skies and then huge clouds rolled through. And then now to see it kind of blue skies opening back up, you can probably tell just a little bit over my shoulder. That it's clearing up. So yeah. Radar says in our this is from is this in our Discord channel saying that the moon scrubbed. That's one thing that I love about eclipses is that we don't have to worry no matter what this is going to happen. There's nothing we can do to change the fact that the moon is going to eclipse the sun. And in the rocket world, and even on a production side of things, like this is so much easier for me because we have a date in the calendar. That date is not going to move. Like, this is happening regardless of anything that we do. And unlike rocket launches, which it's like, well, maybe it'll launch today, maybe it won't. We have no idea. So it's really fun to just be able to watch this, sit back, relax, know that we have nothing to worry about. We have nothing to worry about on our end. So we just get to hang out together. And we just get to chat and have fun. So, like I said, we will be joined by other scientists here as well in about 10 minutes. And I believe it's Heidi that is really going to be able to answer a lot of your astronomy questions. So get those ready. We will queue them up in our queue, and it's going to be really, really exciting. So keep everything on standby there for that, my friends. And meanwhile, let me know if there's any other questions you guys have, maybe ones that are maybe not as necessarily eclipse related per se. Let me know. I'll try to answer those now because we'll save the eclipse ones and the science ones for the scientists, because at this point, I'm just like I said, just a beautiful talking head for you all, hanging out, having fun. But yeah, like I said, our channel here, Everyday Astronaut, is mostly focused on space flight and rocket launches. So normally we're talking about how do rockets work, things like why don't rocket engines melt, how do you start a rocket engine, what powers a rocket engine, things like why don't they launch rockets from mountaintops or from underneath jets, why do they always make these huge, massive rockets? If you've ever asked those types of questions, make sure you're subscribed and look around on the channel. We do really in-depth videos. Different than what we're doing today is quite different for us, but we're really good friends with the people at the Planetary Society. They've been great friends for us and have helped us even with some Starship stuff too as well. So it's been fun to partner on this with them together. But like I said, this is a little bit out of my personal wheelhouse, but this is one of those things that it makes me happy to be here with you guys and happy to be able to bring this. Because I know not everyone is able to travel, even, my friends and family and stuff. A lot of them had work and things and weren't able to, make it across the country in our case. And the United States is a big country too. Texas is as big as many countries around the world. So if you're tuning in from around the world, hi and welcome, and thank you for joining us. It's just getting started. It is just getting started. So like we said, the time when we're actually only 1 hour and 10 minutes away from totality. So we will just continue to watch Pac-Man continue to become more Pac-Man as the moon, just continues to further and further eclipse the sun. Now, hopefully we don't totally lose it. This is what scares me is you can see obviously right now we've got it nice and we've got a good image of it, but when it goes totally dark like that from the cloud coverage, it might be a little bit harder for us to track, because that's the other thing. These scopes were constantly dialing in the rates of how quickly they're moving and just trying to make sure that we're perfectly on track. So there should be pretty well dialed in. We're not using, so if we had used like a typical telescope, we probably could have just said, aim it here, and the scope would be smart enough to just stay on track, regardless of if there's any clouds in the sky or not. But we're doing this with our, like I said, with our rocket trackers. So it's a little bit more of a manual process, but we probably could have done some stuff in that regard. So, where is the someone asking, where is the video from right now showing the start of the eclipse? Right here. I'm sorry if I'm Toolkit 71. Sorry if I'm missing it, but that is a live view of what we are seeing right now. Occasionally, you're going to see it get darker and brighter. That's because of cloud coverage. So, we're literally showing you our live view of what we are seeing with our eyeballs through, of course, solar glasses with protection to be able to look up at this event that we are witnessing here today, and it's continuing to move on. But we're getting ready here. We have Heidi Hammel from the Planetary Society. Heidi, welcome, and what an exciting event. I'm so glad that you're here with me. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. And how about the sunshine that we've got?
I swear, every time a planet, everyone can attest to this. I've been saying this every time. Every time someone comes, I swear, we start seeing more and more shadows. So I think this seat needs to be filled with smart scientists here, because you happen to always bring the sun, and we see a shadow, and that's a very good sign for our viewing opportunity here
Absolutely.
today.
And the eclipse has started.
Yes.
I was able to take a peek at it through my eclipse glasses, which
Yep.
you must keep on until totality.
Yes.
And you can start to see that little bite out of the side.
You can barely see very faintly.
Oh,
Our monitor's so dark out here.
I
We need a
can
better
see
outdoor
that,
monitor. But yeah, we've got our scopes out there. We're tracking it, and yeah, it's a pretty incredible image already. That even though we're just beyond first contact here about 10 minutes ago now, it's starting to really dig into that sun. And
but we haven't started to sort of experience it yet here on the ground. We're going to have to get quite a bit further over and lose a lot more of the sunlight before we start feeling the effects.
Yeah.
Temperature dropping,
Mm-hmm.
darkness emerging.
Yeah.
Maybe sounds changing, maybe birds flying. There could be all kinds of different effects that I'm encouraging people to experience.
Yes, and that's the thing that we've been talking about this on air quite a bit, is that it is a big difference between the partial eclipse and a total. It's almost like a snap, right? When it does happen, it's like
it's a factor of a million difference. It's a million times better in totality. It literally is, because it's like a million times fainter. The sun is there. Even the last little bit of sunlight you have is really bright. And so you cannot appreciate it, totality, unless you are in the path of totality.
that is
So you still have
times.
a little bit of time. If you think you're at the 90% and that's good enough, get in your car and
I
drive.
know. So I saw that on social media quite a bit. People saying like, "I'll just enjoy it." I saw someone say, "I'm 20 minutes from the path of totality. I'm close enough." And I'm like, no, please. Like, you don't understand that difference is almost inexcusable. Like, get on a bike if you need to, and bike those 20 miles. Get inside the path of totality.
Like I said, it's a factor of a million times better if you're in the path of totality. Even if you just are right inside the path and only get it for like 15 seconds, it'll be worth that 15 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if it's clear sky. So we've been saving up some questions for people that know, because I am no astronomer. I am a rocket guy. So for me, this is all these questions. I'm like, I don't think I know even what that is. And one of them that I wanted to ask you about, somebody asked about, what was it? The Bailey's beads.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
So the sun's surface is not uniform. You know, it has texture to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the edge of the sun, it looks sharp in these pictures and people are looking. But in fact, it is not sharp. It is textured. And so when the moon is moving and is near totality, and there's just the tiniest sliver of the sun left, there are places where the sun's outer atmosphere is a little higher and a little lower. And the places where it's a little higher, it'll stick out beyond the edge. So you'll have this effect of bright spots along the edge. And those are called Bailey's beads. And you honestly, if you're seeing Bailey's beads, you better have your eclipse glasses on
because
that's still the sun.
Yeah.
And you know, after Bailey's beads, there is sometimes a moment where there's just exactly one piece of the sun left. And that's called the diamond ring.
Yeah.
Because it's just like a bright, sparkling diamond with a sort of a ghostly ring of the corona, the extended outer atmosphere. So if you're lucky enough to see that diamond ring, make sure your glasses are on for it. But then when the diamond winks out, that's when you can take your glasses off.
Wow. And what science can we actually do here on Earth that matters in the grand scheme of things? Because people think, well, it's just night. Like, can't we just do science at night? But there's a lot of things that are completely different, obviously because of the moon blocking the vast majority of the sunlight, that we can study the sun in new ways. And even our own atmosphere. I know that there's ionosphere being studied on some sounding rockets during this eclipse. How does that work?
So the science, it ranges from the sun itself all the way down to the flora and fauna on the surface of the Earth. That's how connected the sun is to us. The National Solar Observatory has a variety of experiments going on around the world and in the path of totality and outside the path of totality. What a total solar eclipse does for us is it blocks out the sun and allows us to study the extended atmosphere called the corona. And we can do that with spacecraft, but here on the surface of the Earth, if we try to do that, our Earth's atmosphere is turbulent, and it kind of distorts our view of this. So we can't get super clean, crisp pictures of the corona. But having the moon do it means that it's crisp, clear, beautiful. And so there are many scientific studies looking at the corona at different wavelengths of light, trying to understand what chemistry might be taking place, what's the pressure, the temperature. They're looking at something called polarimetry of the light, many different aspects of the light that we just simply cannot normally see. At the same time, we're going to be using the world's largest solar telescope called the Daniel K. Inouye Solar Telescope on Haleakala, which is such a powerful solar telescope that it's almost like using a microscope on the surface of the sun. And so they're going to also be looking at the sun, not an eclipse, because the eclipse, this is in Hawaii, this is where it is located. It will not be totality, but they'll be looking at the sun itself, and then we'll be able to use that to connect to the coronal observations that are being made by people in the path of eclipse. So there's a lot of fantastic science. I should mention there's a NASA airplane that is flying along the path of totality, collecting data from high altitude. So I'm talking about the sun right now. There are also people who are literally studying the effect on the Earth itself. They are measuring the temperature changes as a function of location, as a function of altitude. They're measuring pressure changes to see how the eclipse may be affecting local weather. There's a whole app that has been put together by NSF and people from Indiana University called Solar Bird. And if you are experiencing totality or near totality and you notice unusual bird behavior, you can report it on the app. I personally have seen that at a previous solar eclipse when we got extremely close to totality, when it started getting very dark. Flocks of birds emerged from the trees. They were obviously very confused. They thought it was like, dusk.
Right. What are we doing out here?
Yeah, what's happening here? It's like, oh, we should be singing. We should be doing something. The animals, they react to the sunlight. So there's just a lot of fascinating science that can be done during the eclipse.
Wow. And you mentioned NSF. Because it's in the spaceflight community, we have our friends at NASA Spaceflight, I assume it's not them. Is it a different
NSF is the National Science Foundation.
Okay.
And they are the
Just
ones.
wanted to clarify that.
Sorry about that. Too many acronyms. I work in Washington. I live the acronyms.
Yes.
NASA is the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, and they have programs studying the sun. The National Science Foundation is the organization that funds the U.S. National Solar Observatory, which is managed by my organization, so I know quite a bit about it. And NSF, the National Science Foundation, has also funded the Daniel K. Inouye Solar Telescope. And they're doing a live stream as well about science that's taking place. So, but I don't want people to leave your live stream.
Well, I appreciate that.
But I got to put the plug in. It's my job.
Of course. And you've worked on that note. You've worked on a lot of amazing programs. Can you give us a quick little rundown on some of the highlights of some of the things that you've been able to work on?
Sure. I've been a planetary astronomer for a very long time, all the way back to Comet Halley days.
Oh, wow,
I was part of when I was a graduate student, a young planetary scientist. I made Comet Halley observations. I then worked on the Voyager mission. I was a member of the imaging team for the Voyager Neptune flyby, which was a highlight of my career. So amazing.
Wow.
Then I got to use the Hubble Space Telescope. And my very first program with Hubble was watching Comet Shoemaker-Levy 9, which was a shattered comet, crash into the planet Jupiter. And we watched massive explosions on Jupiter with the Hubble Space Telescope. Oh my goodness, it was amazing. I've since gone on to use Hubble to study the planets Uranus and Neptune. And about 25 years ago, I became involved with what became the James Webb Space Telescope. In 2002, NASA selected me to be one of the project scientists for the James Webb Space Telescope, specifically to use it to study the solar system. It's not why we built it. We built it to image the first galaxies that ever formed in the universe, but it's so powerful that we could use it to study some of the most distant objects in our solar system, Kuiper Belt objects. We could use it to study the chemistry of Uranus and Neptune. We imaged the DART impact, where we smashed a spacecraft into a near-Earth asteroid's moon and changed its orbit, part of the Planetary Society's Defend Earth theme.
Absolutely.
And so it's been amazing to be a part of the James Webb Space Telescope, and now we're looking to the future. I'm part of a group of people that is advocating for the next major great observatory. We're talking about something called the Roman Space Telescope, which is going to be like Hubble but wide field. And after that, something that very ambitious, we're calling the Habitable Worlds Observatory.
I've heard of this.
Yeah. Its goal is to be able to characterize Earth-like planets around sun-like stars, study their atmospheres as those planets move in front of their host stars. It has this host star light shining through the planet's atmosphere, and analyze those atmospheres to look for chemical imbalances that might indicate the presence of life on those Earth-like planets around sun-like stars. That's wild, it's ambitious, it's challenging, but it is probably the next horizon for us in studying the search for life.
Well, it's the ultimate mission. It's the ultimate goal. It's the ultimate program is to really, really spend that much effort and time and energy to really help answer those questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we're also, as a planetary scientist, I talk about the solar system. We have Mars rovers, Mars orbiters. We're collecting samples on Mars that we someday hope to analyze and maybe look for past life on Mars. We're talking about launching the Europa Clipper mission later this year to go to Europa to start looking for places that may be interesting from what we call an astrobiology perspective, and maybe someday even Saturn's moon Enceladus, which JWST found massive plumes of water being ejected from Enceladus. I worry a little bit that worry is not the right word. If we find life elsewhere in our solar system, that would be awesome and amazing. But as a scientist, I would question maybe that is all part of life on Earth, because we know that when we have major impacts on planets, debris can spread, and it could be transmitted throughout. I mean, we may be Martians for all I know. There could have been Martian life, you know, 1 billion years ago, but that life could be what seeded life on Earth. So that would be super exciting. But if we found life on a planet around another star, that would be truly unique. There would be no way it could be related to life here. And so we need to do all the things.
Right, 100%. Collect all the data, do all the science.
Yes.
No, that's super exciting. And it's just been super fun that, you know, that we're in this time now where there is a general excitement. Like, you can feel that the general public is getting more excited, more tuned into this kind of stuff. And there are resources. You know, there's so many avenues of education that people can start to understand some of this stuff. You know, I feel like even when I was growing up, you know, of course we had, you know, PBS and you know, a few, you know, if you knew about the Planetary Society, you could learn. But nowadays it seems like there's just, it's everywhere. You can find it everywhere and learn so much. And it's contagious then.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I've been a planetary scientist for a long time, many decades. This is an amazing moment in planetary science right now. The fact that we have well over 5,000 planets known around other stars. We have 10,000 more that are waiting in the wings to be confirmed.
As
you know, and you know, in the olden days when I was a student, you know, we had back then we had the 9 planets, right? And then it was 8 planets, and now we have 5,000 planets. Like, wow, what an amazing time. And, you know, you're right. So much of this is available. NASA puts together very good resources. There's an exoplanet website. If people are into exoplanets, they can go there, and every day it'll be updated, you know, how many more new planets there are. Every time I give a talk about the search for life, I have to update my slides because the field is evolving so quickly.
Isn't that crazy? And yeah, we just did a presentation too, and I don't remember what the number, I think the number was talking about the number of rocket launches was the same type of thing where I'm like, this is manually having to be input by the hour at this point because it's like every 3 days. So if you're not in exoplanets, it's the same thing. It's like, it's just an exponential thing of like, well, now that we kind of know how to look for them and where to look, they're everywhere.
Yeah, it's
super
great.
exciting.
And they're wildly different than we thought. You know, when I was a young student learning about planetary science, we had a story about how our solar system formed, and it had like the big planets out here that were big and gassy and icy, and it had the little rocky ones close in, like Earth and Mars and stuff. When we started finding planets around other stars, they didn't care about our theories. The first things we found were big, giant, hot Jupiters at the orbit of Mercury.
Really?
You know, and so most planetary systems that we've been finding, it's easier to find ones with the biggest planets, and they all seem to be like anywhere. They're not out like where our Jupiter is.
Right.
They could be anywhere in their planetary system. So, you know, our whole wonderful theory about just like, boom, it's out the window.
Which is awesome.
That is how we learn.
Actually.
That's how we learn. And we now have some really sophisticated telescopes. Another one that is built and operated by NSF, the National Science Foundation, called ALMA. It's a sub-millimeter array of sub-millimeter telescopes that all work together. And it is starting to image planetary disks around other stars where we can actually see what we think are planets in formation around those things. So an amazing time for planetary science.
Which means an amazing time for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. Well, we got to get you out of here. Thank you so much for joining and for talking, and we'll see you up on stage, and hopefully the sky just stays blue.
We have 4 minutes of totality here, so hopefully in that 4 minutes we'll have a couple of clear moments, and it'll be great. And if nothing else, it'll be nighttime in the middle of the day.
It'll be nighttime. We'll all hoot and holler and have a good time anyway. So
thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, so we are coming up. Like I said, we are within about we're under an hour now from totality. And you can see our image there of the eclipse is moving right along as one should and can and does expect. Of course, this is not going to be nothing we could do right now could change that. Isn't that weird to think? That I feel like that's a very humbling thing to say that, you know, no matter what we did here on Earth, you could not change what's happening in the sky right now, and then beyond the sky, really, technically, what is happening in our own solar system. That is just. the miracle of where we live and the solar system we're in is this is just going to happen no matter what, and we get to sit by and enjoy it and be it's one of those feelings of humility of how tiny and precious we are as humans, that like there's these ginormous planetary bodies in the sky that are going to be doing this beautiful little delicate dance. So very, 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 very fun. And like I said, there is a main stage behind me here today, and we're joined with members of the Planetary Society out here. We are in Fredericksburg, Texas. Again, like I said, we are within the path of totality. We will get over 4 minutes of goodness here, hopefully. So regardless, again, we will for sure just get, at minimum, we'll get darkness, and hopefully we'll get some clear sky for just a minute to actually be able to properly see the sun fully eclipsed by the moon, and that will be just the treat of all treats, because that's why we came out here. That's why you guys are tuning in, and hopefully we just get incredible imagery for you guys. And we do have the other scopes all getting ready to be lined up as well. However, yeah, the big problem there, like we said, is you got to have a clear enough sky to be able to even begin to track them and aim. So our teams are working on trying to get both of them continually lined up and dialed in, and it's pretty fun. People are cheering now. I don't know what for, but so we'll just give you guys a little preview of what it's going to look like. I am going to join them on the main stage here when we get closer to it, but I think we're being joined by Science Bob. Is on the main stage at this moment. See, there you go. So I'm going to be popping up there on the stage here in a little bit, just after noon or after 1 o'clock Central. Sorry, we are past noon. It is 12:45 Central time here. So yeah, at about 18 UTC, a little after 18 UTC is when I'm popping up there. And yeah, we're again going to hopefully be able to take a few more questions with you guys. But more or less, the whole point of this entire stream, the whole point of being here in person is to hang out and experience it. And I know, of course, not every one of you watching this right now is able to do this in person. I know it requires traveling, logistics, and all the things that can be cumbersome. So we are just trying to help you feel like you're here with us and enjoy this moment together. And even if you're at home watching from pixel to pixel, yeah, at least we're watching together. So thank you again to all of you that are tuning in as we continue to see the sun. Yeah, that's getting pretty good. That's getting pretty good. We're coming up on the 50% mark, but we still have a little ways to go before that. So we're only about 15 minutes away before, I believe, almost. There's actually a name for it. Remember, again, guys, not a planet. I am not a scientist. But at 1 o'clock on the dot is when we're at 50%. So that's 15 minutes from. So I was pretty on. That's when it'll be about 50%. And just from eyeball, our eyes are really good at adjusting for light, don't forget. So listen to what I'm saying. Take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt that, our eyes, obviously, as we go from a campfire to walking around the woods at night or whatever, when you turn on a light in your bathroom and then it's nighttime, our eyes are really good at readjusting. So from my eyes right now, I can't tell it's any darker yet. But, that could be because even if we did lose 20-30% of the brightness of the sun right now, my eyes are just continually adjusting, and it can't really tell. A cloud cover does the same thing at this point. You know what I mean? A dark, cloudy sky would also provide the same effect right now. But I can't really tell yet. But as it continues to get more and more and more eclipsed, yeah, it will continue to do that. And we have from Ian Walton, have a coffee. Thank you so much for that super chat. But you know what? I have this coffee that has not been drank, and this is the first coffee of the day because this is round 1 of coffee because Fredericksburg got packed. By the time we left the hotel this morning, it was all of a sudden swimming. There was a line down the block for coffee, and we're like, yeah, we better not do that. So we came out here to the event. So pardon me while I enjoy a sip of who knows what kind of coffee. Brought to you by unknowncoffee.biz. All right, so world's first private company. All right, from Captain Joey, watching from Nigeria. Unfortunately, no solar eclipse here, but the time is 6:23 p.m., so we'll soon have our own darkness. So yeah, you're experiencing the Earth solar eclipsing itself by rotating and being in the way. It's going to be in the way of you and the sun, also known as sunset. That is crazy. Did you guys see, by the way, the other day, speaking of like solar activity and stuff, and there have been 2 nighttime launches lately from SpaceX from Vandenberg and from Florida, where they had the twilight phenomena, where the rocket launches after the so if it's in Vandenberg Air Force or Space Force Base, sorry, on the West Coast, it's best after the sun has set. So like, let's say the sun set 15 minutes ago, and then a rocket launches. It's like the most brilliant thing you'll ever see, because the rocket's exhaust plume will go up high enough, and it still gets illuminated by the sun, back illuminated. So it's hitting all the exhaust particles, glowing bright, but it's dark on Earth. And what's crazy, obviously in Vandenberg, the rockets fly south, and they fly along the coast of California and down along the Baja of California and all that type of stuff. So you can actually see these launches when they're with this twilight phenomena all the way, like Phoenix, Arizona. I saw these photos and videos from people in Phoenix seeing the whole tail of the exhaust plume of the Falcon 9. And it's just the coolest thing to me that it's that bright because it already set. So those of us on the ground are already, it's already dark for us on Earth because the sun's set, because it's rotating. And then all of a sudden, but the rocket goes up high enough where its exhaust is being back illuminated, and then it just glows. It's just the coolest thing. And this also happens in Florida, but it's pre-dawn. So before the sun rises in Florida, because it's on the East Coast, if it's like, say, 30 minutes before the sun rises and a rocket launches, you will get the coolest twilight phenomenon there too as well. And that actually happened. There's backlit and forelit stuff. What am I talking about? There's backlit and forelit twilight phenomena, but it's best when it's backlit. So pre-dawn on the East Coast, post-sunset on the West Coast. But it still looks pretty impressive as well, even on the East Coast if it's after sunset. I almost had my own version of this one time in a plane. I remember it was spectacular. We were sitting on the tarmac for what felt like forever, and just a commercial flight. And I happened to be looking out the window, and we were lined up waiting forever. And I watched the sunset completely. Then we took off, and as we took off, all of a sudden the sun came back up, and it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. To me, that's one of those like, I don't want to trigger any people of any particular conspiracy theorists here, but that's just one of those things. It's like, explain that. Like, what? You can literally just get in a plane and watch it. It's incredible. Let's see here. So this is from Jack, watching from your home state of Iowa, getting 84% coverage here. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. But again, I know I'm going to be just saying this over and over and over, and I apologize for being a broken record. But if you happen to be within like an hour's drive of Totality, just do it. If it hasn't surpassed you yet, depending on where you're at in the country. But it's actually, wait, I think that doesn't work like that. But what time is it actually when it's going to be starting in, I should look at the total solar eclipse map. What time does it start up there in the, I don't know if it says. At 2 p.m., okay. Partial eclipse, 2 p.m. So I'm looking like in the very northeast, like up in, in Canada, basically. So for them, it's about 2 o'clock. This area will see it at 2:09 p.m. Totality is at 3:21, so that would be 2:21 here. So it's just a few minutes before us then. Wait, 2:20, and we're at 1. Oh, weird. They're going to be an hour later. That is so weird. So wait, is the path of Totality going west to east? I don't even know. Why didn't I ask this? I had really smart people here to ask. Is it west? It's going southwest to northeast. I never even realized that. And that's because of the path of the orbit of the moon, not because of the rotation of the Earth. Oh my gosh. Duh. This whole time I just am thinking just normal sunset. I'm not thinking about eclipses every day. Well, there you go. I'll stick to rockets. Wow, that's crazy. So yeah, also like Jahan saying here in New Jersey it's 91%. Yeah, that's if I was in New Jersey, I would be halfway tempted. That's quite a drive. You'd be having to go into northern upper state New York, which that could be on a good day that could be 3 or 4 hours. On a bad day that could be 5, 6, 7. That's yeah. Let's see. This is a great question from Mark asking, how is Luna doing? Our locational uplink networking asset. Van, I don't know if Nick is around to be able to do a little walk and talk of some of our gear here. If he's out enjoying the crowd, he's probably he's going to come and show you guys Luna. So our Luna is just like everything with the iterative design process. Our Luna van has been going through an insane amount of rework, and everything's always being tweaked, worked on, and fiddled with, and Luna is no exception. So our locational networking asset. Actually, we could start here if you want, Nick, and we can have Nick start showing kind of our hosting tent, and we'll get a sense of where we are and the scale here and things. But we, we're kind of in this field in the outside. We're outside of Fredericksburg. We're about Fredericksburg is beautiful, by the way, but we're a good little bit outside of Fredericksburg. But this is Nick on the roaming camera here. He's gonna give us a little walk and talk. So we've got the hosting tent here, but then over there we've got our scopes. So it's this beautiful lodge area. Unfortunately, that is breaking up. That transmitter doesn't really quite like it all the way over this way, it doesn't seem. But you can see Luna in the background there with all the cars. Luna is plugged in. We've got Starlink providing our uplink here for you guys. It's one of our sources. We still, again, have redundant uplinks. So we have dual Starlinks. We've got 6 SIM cards, and we have a local LAN network as well. So believe it or not, the local network is one of the least reliable connections. And unfortunately, I think by the time he gets to the van, unfortunately, I think the transmitter breaks up because the transmitter's back on the main stage. So, yeah, there you go. That's our tour. I love it. That right when he gets to the van is when it breaks up the most. So that camera's mostly going to be used down there at the main stage. You'll be seeing more from that when that happens, and it's going to be really fun. So, wow, we are already at 12:55. This is crazy. It is, okay, I have to admit, it is properly darker now, and it just feels like it's a really cloudy day. Like, if I'm looking out, I had to remind myself it's getting colder, and I'm like, oh, man, the weather's getting worse. But, it might not be the weather. It might, a good amount of that might just be the fact that the sun is being eclipsed by the moon. Did we lose that shot even? Is it that cloudy right now? Oh, man. So currently, our skies are real dark, and I really hope in the next we have about 40 minutes now before totality. So guys, everyone in chat, just give us wish us luck here, because obviously this is what so many people came and traveled for, not just here at this thing, but all around the entire country. People have traveled from all around the world to be able to witness this, and obviously full cloud coverage is not what anybody wants to see. But, however, like we said, of course, there's still some excitement when it does go totally dark here. Day will turn into night. But it's weird. Right now, I have to keep reminding myself, telling my brain, yeah, it's not just cloudy. Oh, 3. They're counting down. 2, 1. Why are they counting down? Oh, Science Bob is doing... Oh, he did some elephant toothpaste on the main stage. Man, oh, there we go. All right. Not quite as exciting as a solar eclipse, however, pretty exciting. You know what? I have to admit, I think that's the first time I've actually ever seen that experiment done in person. Well, that shows how cultured I am. I've seen it online, and now I'm seeing it in person. Today, Tim Dodd's dreams really did come true. Do you guys call it elephant toothpaste, or do you call it elephant... what's elephant foam or something? What's it? I don't... Elephant... I've heard... I think toothpaste. Sure. So this is from Footy Nuck. I good to hear from you. But the flamey end is down and the pointy end is up. Yeah, the same things with total solar eclipses and eclipses in general don't really apply with rockets. So it is a little different world here. Pretty funny. So this is a good just a comment here from Jose or Josu something. You should check out Systems Go rocket program based out of Fredericksburg, and my alma mater, Brazos Wood High School, holds the high school altitude and world record through the program. Oh, that's awesome! What a small coincidence, or I guess a big coincidence, but a small random thing that there's a high school world record holding rocket here. That is crazy. What are the odds here? That could be anywhere in the United States. Fredericksburg is not very big. I don't think it's much more than 10,000 people. So it's a pretty small town. It is adorable. We could roll that beautiful B-roll. I know that we've been talking about Fredericksburg a lot. This is not brought to you at all in any way, shape, or form by the Fredericksburg tourism bureau or anything. We just thought, I guess our team, we were just really excited. We were like, this is a really cute little town. And Ryan from Cosmic Perspective went out and shot some shots because like, look how cute this town is. It's like this beautiful German settlement place, and it's surprisingly adorable, and a lot of cute little shops and restaurants. Again, officially not brought to you by the Fredericksburg something Tourism Bureau, if there is one. Just brought to you by us here at Everyday Astronaut and Cosmic Perspective, just simply because I think it's cute, and you're welcome. And I know you guys are tuning in for the eclipse coverage to see quaint towns of the United States. I'm aware. I knew it. I knew that's why you're here. So, yeah, sorry. Tangent. This is a great question from Thomas Pearl. How will the eclipse affect birds? Will they be confused? Will they use the downtime to charge batteries? No, they won't quite settle in 4 minutes, but they will be confused for 4 minutes. You will hear the last one that I went to, the birds were just it was so funny. They all just start flying around and kind of going because I think birds at night, they normally have a game plan. They kind of know when it's coming. They don't normally know when the sun's coming up. They're gonna chirp about and do all these things, and they just have no idea what to do. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it gets completely dark, and it's gonna be really fun. And hopefully, we have some ambient mics that we'll be able to listen in, and hopefully, we'll be listening to some sounds of the wildlife, because it is weird. I mean, dogs bark. If you're around coyotes or wolves and stuff, you'll hear all of them just get confused, and it's super fun. One of those things that we have no control over, and all these creatures have been dealing with this for eternity, and or at least as long as the Earth and the Moon have been here, and as long as there's been life to observe it, they've been reacting to it, probably going what the heck? This is not like it's been in the other times. Does anyone know what's going on? This is a great question here from David asking, is the flamey end behind the moon? And the answer is yes. Right now, the flamey end, the old sun, is currently behind the moon about 50%, actually almost on the dot, 50% coverage right now. Right when I said it. That's pretty cool. However, right now we are clouded out, so we actually don't have, we don't quite have visual on it as we speak, but we're obviously hoping that we get some blue skies coming again. For our sake, for your sake, for everybody's sake. Obviously, that's what we all want. Again, unlike rockets, though, this is not going to scrub. This will happen no matter what. Our gets scrubbed from views of the clouds, but as far as the timeliness of it, it is no matter what happening, which is just one of those humbling experiences. This is from Mike saying New Mexico state flag looks like a solar eclipse. That is so true, isn't it? I wonder, is it a solar eclipse, or is it just kind of look like one? Oh, there's our view of the eclipse right now. It is, there we go. We got some, okay, that's, our view of the eclipse was eclipsed by the clouds, so to speak. So, there we go. That's almost full-blown Pac-Man. I think we're officially at the Pac-Man 50% mark. And there comes the clouds. You can just see the clouds coming and ruin our days. But, I'm hopeful that we'll at least get some shots here, because it does come and go. It does come and go. And I can see over my shoulder, I do see some blue skies to the north. However, the clouds are kind of moving up from the south, which is not looking fantastic. So not only are you dealing with me not being an astronomer, now you're also dealing with me as a horrible meteorologist. So you guys are just so lucky. What other questions do you guys have for me, or what types of things do you guys want to hear about? Here's one coming in from the hardware nerd. Your explanation of bird behavior and them having a game plan, chirping all about, made me pull over the hardware. I was laughing so hard. Yeah, I don't know. I'm also not a bird expert. No, I am actually. I'm maybe the world's leading bird expert. I'm not at all. Yeah, it is just wild, though. It is really fun to see their behavior, because they're probably as confused as I am about them. They are as confused about the solar eclipse. So pretty fun stuff. Thank you, the hardware nerd. I do greatly appreciate that. Ooh, this is a fun one from Paul C. What science experiment would you do if you had the chance to do any? So, for me, my immediate reaction, obviously, is to do something with a rocket, But the thing that you need to remember is, even if you launch a rocket straight up, right towards the sun, and the moon during an eclipse, straight up, the perspective would be so the change in perspective and the focal length and all the things would be so minimal, because the moon is, 240,000 miles away, almost 400,000 kilometers away from us, and then the sun is a million. Wait, is it a million or 1,000 times further away from us than that? And so that amount of parallax difference, basically, the moon would not get that much closer in grand scheme. If you flew a rocket up at, even if it was a sounding rocket pulling 10 Gs for 4 full minutes of acceleration, you wouldn't get that high. You wouldn't get. The sun is about 400 times further than the moon. Is that right? 400 times. So that'd be like, yeah, all right, 400 times further. Sorry. So if you were to fly, something towards it, compared to your perspective here on Earth, we're talking, minimal, maybe a couple thousand miles out of hundreds of thousands of miles. We're not even getting to 1% difference at all of like your change in perspective there. And I actually did a video about this a long time ago, talking about if you were an astronaut at different orbits, different altitudes, what would you see? And it's an old video. It's terrible. For the love of God, don't watch it. I'm in the spacesuit. I'm going wild. I'm being ham. However, there's one of the funniest comments on there. Asked with my friend Elliot, asking how loud is it going to be, and he kept asking that. Is it going to be loud and plugging his ears? And for whatever reason, that killed me. So maybe it is worth it just to watch that. But other than that, please don't watch that video. It is embarrassing. But that was a video kind of about what it would look like from different perspectives, including like Heidi was talking about how on the moon, or was it Bethany that talked about that? From the moon, yeah, it was Bethany that was talking about they need to plan for the eclipse. When you're on the moon, an eclipse of the Earth blocking the sun is a lot bigger. So it's the eclipses last a lot longer. Instead of it being 4 minutes like here, it can be hours and hours. So that can be really hard to plan around mission planning wise, with batteries on spacecraft and things like that. So that's one of those things that, dang, I'm glad that there's smart people out there thinking of those kinds of things, because frankly, I would not have thought of that. I'd been like, yeah, well, it's consistent. It's the moon. There's no atmosphere to worry about. We'll get X amount of sun every single, lunar day, and no big deal. Like, what more is there to think about that? And someone smart enough to be like, what about eclipses? What about those times when there's 4 hours that you need to, be able to have backup power, or 6 hours or whatever, until your solar panels get power again, because the Earth is eclipsing the sun from the moon. Crazy. Yeah, fun stuff. And if you think about it too, an astronaut that's just in low Earth orbit, the International Space Station, they kind of, in a way, they experience an eclipse every 45 minutes, because as they go into the nighttime side of the Earth is basically eclipsing them. The Earth is blocking the sun from their perspective. However, it's just not nearly as cool as this, because the fun thing about this is that the Earth is, or the moon is almost the exact same size as the sun, so it makes this beautiful block, where it's just this perfect cosmic coincidence of just boop, and it's too good, you know what I mean? Whereas opposed to if you just are sitting in darkness for 45 minutes, it's just not nearly as magic. So it would be magic for other reasons, because you're obviously in space, you're in orbit, you'd be like, yay, I'm floating around, living my life on the International Space Station. But there we go. We're getting a little bit of clarity again. Oh, come on, guys. We are within a half hour now of totality. So, man, oh man, do I hope and pray that we're gonna get some a straight line of sight here to be able to see this with our own eyes today. We got a big dark cloud coming over, but it looks like it's gonna be passing in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So, who knows? And that's the fun. Let's see, here we go. Oh, awesome. This is from Michael Maxey saying that the NASA eclipse coverage from Mazatlan, Mexico, is nearing full diamond ring. That is amazing. Okay, so I mean, like I said, it's happening no matter what. No matter what we experience here, whatever we see with our eyes and our scopes and stuff, it is happening, and that is the exciting thing. There's nothing we can do to change it. So, Trenton, thank you so much for becoming a member here. Greatly, greatly appreciated. And also, there's a Tom giving a little emote, a lemon character doing some dancing. But we have a great question here from David. Oh, David Mankey, awesome. I believe I know, unless this is a different David Mankey. Hello, David. Discuss how you became the Everyday Astronaut. So Everyday Astronaut started off as an art project. I used to be a professional photographer full time, and I bought a spacesuit as a joke, kind of, online. Well, it's not really a spacesuit. It's a high-altitude flight suit, mostly worn like a MiG, but it looks almost identical to a pressure suit from like the space shuttle, the pumpkin suit. But it's a VMS-K 45 semi-pressurized suit. And I bought it because I thought it'd be an awesome prop and just kind of fun to have. And I was like, who doesn't want a spacesuit? And so I bought it, and it kind of sat around my house for a little bit. I ended up taking a couple fun pictures of myself in it as an art project. And all of a sudden, soon this character of Everyday Astronaut kind of came about as this astronaut that open to interpretation. But the idea is like, yeah, you kind of got stuck here on Earth or whatever, maybe grounded or for whatever reason or whatever, and just continued to wear the suit and go about life. Doing everyday things in the suit. So that's how Everyday Astronaut started. And it quickly evolved, though. As I was doing that project, I'm doing more and more things about rockets and learning more about the history of spaceflight, learning more about things about how astronauts train and things like that. And I really fell in love with the science. I fell in love with the problem solving and the history and all of the physics and all the things. I started playing a lot of Kerbal Space Program, which is still my favorite game by far. Spent the most time doing that than any other game, and it's incredible. And so I was doing all these things, and I wanted to get other people excited and teach them what I was learning. And so I started making videos, and I realized that videos was just the best way to communicate and to share my knowledge and the things that I was learning. And I started doing more and more research about how do things work, how do rocket engines work, and what changes were happening. Because at the time, especially, a lot of this was 2017, 18. Whoa! We just had a table fall over from the wind. It is Wind City here. It is going nuts all of a sudden, man. Wind is picking up, and some of that could be because it's getting colder. Sudden drop of temperature makes it colder, makes the weather do crazy things. And you can even see it's darker here for me. This is crazy. Yeah, so I guess it's happening. Yeah. So back to Everyday Astronaut. Sorry. So basically around 2017 is when I started making videos teaching about rocket science. And that just became a full-time gig in 2017 already. And since then it's become more and more in depth. So I've just been diving more and more into rocket science, going to launches, doing live stream coverage, doing all sorts of that kind of stuff. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a fun journey. It's gone from the character of Everyday Astronaut being a fun, whimsical thing into just the idea being my idea is to bring space down to Earth for everyday people. So I want to make rocket science less confusing, less intimidating, and just simply more fun by answering all those kind of questions that you might pop up, and especially kind of catering to people as they start to gain more knowledge. Going, now what's the difference between this rocket and this rocket? Those are the things that I love talking about. So yeah, that's Everyday Astronaut. If you're new here, tuning in for the first time, hi and welcome to our coverage of the eclipse, which is currently clouded out at the moment, but hopefully will not be here. Maybe this wind will blow some stuff away. But I'm about to I have to go up on stage here and join everybody. I'm going to leave you guys with a quick little video to transition. We're going to hear from Mat Kaplan about, of course, the eclipse, as you can guess. And I'm going to hop up on stage and join them for the last 30 minutes as we get into Totality. So again, Totality here local is in just over 30 minutes. So stay tuned. Here's Mat Kaplan, and you'll see Mat Kaplan on stage. So here we go.
Solar and lunar eclipses both happen because of syzygy. This fun-to-say word is what we call it when multiple celestial objects line up in a straight line. When the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun all line up perfectly, we get an eclipse. If the Moon is in the middle between the Earth and the Sun, it's a solar eclipse. The Moon's shadow is cast across a section of the Earth. When the Earth is in the middle, it's a lunar eclipse. This is when the Earth's shadow is cast on the moon. Syzygy between the Earth, the moon, and the sun doesn't happen as often as you might think. If the moon's orbit around Earth were on the same plane as the Earth's orbit around the sun, we'd have at least one solar eclipse and one lunar eclipse each month. Instead, the moon's orbital plane is tilted by 5 degrees compared to the Earth's orbital plane. This means that most of the time, the moon isn't lined up directly with the Earth and the sun. The moon's shadow is cast above or below the Earth's, and vice versa. This is why when the moon is between the Earth and the sun, we usually just get a new moon instead of a solar eclipse. And when it's on the far side of the Earth, we get a full moon instead of a lunar eclipse. As the Earth and moon revolve around the sun throughout the year, every once in a while, the moon's position does line up with the Earth and the sun, creating a syzygy. This happens about 4 times a year on average. Hi again. This was part 1 of 8 for our very thorough eclipse course. To take the whole course, you need to be a Planetary Society member. We have other courses as well, and more are on the way. Plus, you'll get access to our online community where you can chat with other space enthusiasts like me. So join us.
Ladies and gentlemen who've just joined us from Everyday Astronaut, thank you so much for becoming part of Eclipse-O-Rama right here in the Texas Hill Country. We are joined by hundreds and hundreds of Planetary Society members, and we are so thrilled to be able to welcome the guy you love, Mr. Everyday Astronaut himself, Tim Dodd, to the stage. Let's hear it for Tim.
Thank you so much. It's so awesome to be here. Oh, how are you guys doing? I know, probably a little bit bummed right now with a little cloud coverage, right? Yeah, I know. Me too. But, I don't know, I'm hopeful. I've been to one of these before, and, you just never know.
You never know is right. I've only had one before. I talked about it earlier. 2017, I was in Carbondale. One cloud in the entire sky, and guess where it was? Yeah, that's unfortunate. But we're still hoping. We still, with the glasses, are you folks still able to make out the disc? All right. As Tim is on my watch, it's about 17 minutes? No, 14 minutes. No, 17. I got it right the first time.
17 minutes. And, I need to always remind everyone that even if we don't get to see a straight line, perfect, beautiful, clear sky shot of the sun during a full eclipse, it will still be a really fun, magical experience together as it just all of a sudden snaps into like night. Really, it's a really quick difference between, when it's like, oh, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's night. I mean, we feel it now already. Look at this.
Absolutely. And, be watching, folks. I don't know if the clouds are going to get in the way of this, but as we were talking about to our audience in person here today, we might be able to see the shadow coming toward us.
And it'll be coming kind of from the southwest.
That sounds right.
Whoop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the path.
So I was dumb, and earlier I just totally blanked my mind. I just was talking on stream and going, yeah, it's going to start up in the northeast and come down. And then I remembered, it's not with the rotation of the Earth. It's the orbit of the moon that determines where totality is happening. And so it's actually going from southwest to northeast. And that was a fun reminder for me of, I'm not a planetary scientist.
Which, this is kind of different for you, right? Usually you see things on the ground and follow them as they go up into the sky, and here we're starting up there.
Yeah, this is a bit backwards for me. For those of you that don't know anything about me, again, my name is Tim. I run a YouTube channel and social media platform called Everyday Astronaut. We mostly talk about rocket science. So I'm really big into spaceflight history, rockets, all of that kind of stuff. That's what gets me going. And so we make videos about things like, how do rocket engines work? Why don't they melt? How do you power them? Why don't you launch rockets from on top of mountains where they're closer to space? Some of those fun topics that are, maybe questions that you've had for a long time, maybe didn't have answers to. We try to provide answers. But one of the things that we like to do a lot is we live stream some of the bigger, more exciting launches. We have some tracking assets and a whole 4K production van, and we'll take it out to some launches. But especially down here in Texas, we're only a little bit more than 5 hours away from Starbase, Texas, which is right on the border. And that's where SpaceX is working on launching the world's largest, most powerful rocket ever called Starship. And the craziest thing about it, if you happen to be nomadic here on your trip here, I would recommend making it down there after this, down to Starbase, because the cool thing is you can drive right up to the launch pad. It's the weirdest thing ever. There's nowhere else on Earth where, as an average citizen, you can just drive and be 300 feet away from a rocket.
You tried that at Kennedy Space Center, you're going to be in jail really fast.
Yes, 100%. So it is the craziest thing to be able to just literally drive up, see the world's most powerful rockets being built and rolled out to the launch pad, see the launch pad, enjoy the beach. It's out there on Boca Chica Beach. Just south of South Padre. This isn't like a sponsored message by the community of South Padre or anything. It is just a fun thing if you're down here, if you're in the area and you haven't seen anything like that. It is very fun, and it's fun that we're pretty close to that in the grand scheme of across the United States and even across the state of Texas. We're actually pretty close to it in general. So that's normally what I kind of am doing, what I'm mostly thinking about and worried about. But today, and what we have to deal with a lot of times in my world, are scrubs.
This won't scrub.
This will not scrub. This will happen no matter what. So you guys are in luck. I am normally at launch pads where there's crowds of people like this, maybe hundreds of thousands of people waiting for a rocket to launch, and it gets down to T minus 10, 9, 8. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
We had a problem.
We had this experience with you. Sarah and I and a bunch of our colleagues tried to watch the SLS launch, the space launch system, Artemis 1.
Yep.
And we got to visit with you and your people a little bit. We did not get to see the rocket launch.
No, it's hard, and it can be really hard, especially new programs, new rockets, such as the first launch of SLS. First time it had ever been on the pad trying to launch, so a lot of new things at play, a lot of new things going that they're trying for the first time on that particular system, and you just never know. You're sitting there going, oh, please launch. And it's so sad to have to disappoint, have so many people going, well, we're only out here for 3 days, and then it gets scrubs for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But for me, big smile on my face in our production schedule when we're talking about this is like, well, we know this is going to happen. Yeah. We have no doubt in our mind that we couldn't do anything to change it, even if we wanted to.
And we are very happy that you guys were able to join us for this. It does add a really nice element to Eclipse-O-Rama, our event. I have to stick with rockets for a moment. You have seen all of the Starship launches, Starship and Super Heavy launches, right? Tell us about that last one that was so close to being really fully successful.
Yeah, so Starship's a little bit different because they're taking such an iterative design process that they're okay with a very high risk posture. They're like, yeah, you know what? As long as we learn something, we're just going to send it. And so they've taken all these different prototypes throughout different phases of launching, going from these small little, what looks like a tin can, but in real life it's over 100 feet tall and 30 feet wide. These little hoppers and then taller hops that go up to 35,000 feet, 33,000 feet in altitude, and then fall onto their belly and practice those landing maneuvers, to all of a sudden now launching the world's biggest, most powerful rocket that has 33 of the world's most advanced engines underneath it, lifting it off the ground. It's just absolutely incredible. And so when they first launched, for the first time on April 20th last year was the first full stack of Starship. And it just shook everything. And it shook the launch pad itself to pieces almost, the ground beneath the launch pad. But they already had it all put together, launching again in November. They launched, I believe it was November 17th maybe, was the second launch. And that went a lot smoother. Everything looked really good. But they still didn't quite make it through both stages burning completely successfully. Now, this last launch just about a month ago, that was unbelievable because the first stage, they're doing this crazy thing between stage separation of the booster and the upper stage where they light the second stage while it's attached to the first stage. It's called hot staging, and they literally just light the engines while it's still attached to the rocket beneath it. And then it just separates naturally, and you see this. It's just the craziest thing. And then the booster's flipping around, and they're working on landing the booster, and then the upper stage went and began to re-enter. So it ended up re-entering in the Indian Ocean outside of Africa. Unfortunately, it didn't have proper attitude control. Wasn't able to maintain attitude and its belly first orientation through re-entry. but it started to experience some reentry heating, started to experience some of the reentry effects. And then we're looking like, they'll be launching again here next month already.
Fantastic. And I love how they go about this. I was watching at home on my monitor. I can't even begin to imagine what it was like to be able to not just watch, but feel the launch of the biggest rocket ever.
Yeah, I saw footage as a kid growing up, and and as an adult of the Saturn V. I never got to see a Saturn V that stopped flying in 1975 was the last time it flew for Skylab. Or maybe that's actually launched a little bit earlier. But it stopped launching in the 70s. The space shuttle was similar in size in terms of performance and power. So I hadn't seen that either. I actually never got to see one in person. So for me to see something like this, and not only is this bigger, it's twice as powerful as the Saturn V that took humans to the moon. So it's substantially more. So to be able to live in this time and era where we're seeing these things fly again and living and breathing again and getting bigger and more powerful by the day, and to have it shake you and everything you're around to the core is something to experience. Absolutely.
It's a very exciting time to be alive for all of us who believe in space exploration and space development.
Yes.
Sarah, I see you right over there at the corner. Got anybody else that you can find for us to talk to as we head toward Totality? We still have about 9 minutes, maybe one more time out there in the audience. I am talking, Tim, about my great colleague, Sarah Al-Ahmed, who's right there headed into the audience and has already been talking with a few folks with us. And it's great to hear what some of the folks who've gathered with us here on the ranch have to say.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out here, 800 some people out here. And by the way, everyone in the audience, you are also live to over 100,000 people right now. So make sure and cheer and say hi. Yeah, let everyone know how excited you are for this. It is getting darker here by a lot.
It is.
It's super fun, but we do have someone here that we're going to hear from in the audience.
Yeah, this is getting really strange. The weather conditions, the wind is kicking up, and the light is getting surreal. How are you feeling about this?
I'm very excited, but I also have to say that in 2017, I share Matt's pain. I was down in South Carolina, and I was on a bus trip, and we were kind of delayed, so I was on the bus when it was happening, and it was weather just like this. And my daughter and her boyfriend were on the other side of the bus. They saw it. I was keeping a journal, so I was saying, I'm missing it, so I'm writing it down. And then I missed it. It was just
tragic.
Yeah. It was just like a 10-second window that they could see it.
Hey, we got a little hole in the clouds now, Sarah.
A little hole in the clouds.
The clouds
There's
are adding
hope.
nothing but drama for me, you guys. It's just
There we
so
go.
cool.
Anybody else over here? Did you go to see the 2017 solar eclipse? Yeah? No, it's all right.
While you look, Sarah, Tim, as you probably have noticed, and he's already joined you during your live stream.
Bill!
Oh, wow. Oh, man.
This is getting surreal.
Oh, wow. Everyone share this. Oh, I am honored to be with you.
That is awesome.
Would anybody out here like
sorry
to
to
tell us a
interrupt,
little
sir.
bit more about their eclipse experience in 2017?
I see about 12 minutes remaining to Totality.
7 minutes here. Can you
7
let them
minutes,
know?
yeah.
7 minutes and 9 seconds.
It's probably 12 to
7
the
minutes
other
and
side
9
of Totality.
seconds. I hear we have someone over here who would like to tell us a bit about their eclipse experience last time.
So we're just going to talk eclipse until we get within a few
Why is
seconds of
that,
Totality.
Matt? Why is that?
Beats
Is it a
me.
big
Just
deal?
seemed like a good idea at
Hey,
the time.
astronomer, every day. Can you guys kill those monitors?
Kill them all.
Oh, yeah. Production team.
And,
We're on it.
Some people from the Planetary Society have wire cutters. That can help with that.
About 6 minutes
Or
remaining.
an axe.
We have
an
someone over
axe
here,
or a
Matt.
chainsaw. Yeah.
So, you got to see the 2017 solar eclipse. How is this experience right now different?
My experience was right where it came ashore in Newport, Oregon, and we actually hit a part that was in the sun, not in the fog. And the difference is we did not have clouds where we were, so we get to see the whole thing. But it was fascinating to listen to the crows go to bed and be all confused. I've only been up about 4 hours. What is this? And then come back out and say, wait, I haven't been asleep yet. What the heck? And the crickets and the birds. It was the auditory part of it was just fascinating. It was really fun.
What's it like being here for this moment with this many Planetary Society members, this many people that love space?
Being a space geek, it's my thing. I love this. And I've been keeping, I've got a thermometer with me. I've been keeping the temperature. We've had an 8-degree drop so far since it started. And granted, the little of that's for clouds, but from last experience, it'll go at least another 8.
Yeah, we were tracking the temperature where I was. We went to Douglas, Wyoming for the 2017 eclipse. The temperature drop was intense, and we made graphs of it afterwards because we're just nerds that way.
Yep.
Sarah, I think we're getting there. I show
getting there?
about 5 minutes to go.
5 minutes to go.
So we'll
Thank
be
you so
counting it
much.
down. Now, who had the app running, the Eclipse app? Can you join us? Come over here down below the stage because you'll help us count it down.
Whoa, check it out,
Wow.
people.
There we go.
So
my
everybody, just notice that right now we can all see each other. It's still daylight. Right now, like there's still enough sunlight. It's like the morning or the evening or a very thick cloud cover. But in these next 4.5 minutes, it will go to night. It's really an extraordinary experience. I am proud to know you.
What's your name?
Maria.
Maria, thank you so much for
it's
helping us with the
4:15.
countdown, which says 4 minutes and 15 seconds.
Woo!
So stick around.
Thank you so much.
The clouds
for being
are
here.
magical. It's magical, everyone. I am just so happy to be sharing this with you all.
We are rejoined on stage, Tim, by some very special people for us, 2 members of our board.
Yes.
Heidi Hammel, astronomer. Bethany Ehlmann over here, planetary scientist. Big participants in Eclipse-O-Rama. And we're glad to have you back.
They taught me a lot already about some exciting things on the live stream.
That's right, they've joined you, haven't they?
Yes, it's been really, really fun.
3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Oh man, there we go. Oh, the clouds are they're just cool. Yeah. So, wow.
And for those of you at home, we are definitely. I mean, it's starting to get cool off quite a bit already.
It is quite.
It feels
cool,
like it's about to rain. You know, the
yes.
feeling in the air is chill, almost like it's gonna rain. It's dark. It's kind of windy. It's gray.
Gray, yes.
Thanks to Maria, I can tell you that we are at 3 minutes and 4 seconds to totality.
Here in Fredericksburg,
That's
Texas.
right. Her green jersey will be changing colors.
B, I saw her a moment ago.
She's out in the crowd.
B. Takor is wearing red and blue intentionally so that we can compare how the rods in our eyeballs, back of our eyes, perceive color as it gets dark.
No way. That's awesome.
She is a thoughtful scientist.
I love
and
that.
personal friend of mine.
2 minutes and 27
There
seconds.
it is. Look
Use
at
your
that.
glasses,
wow,
people.
wow, wow.
Use
Look
your
at that. The
glasses.
clouds. Just
So-
right there.
Watch for the diamond ring.
Watch for Bailey's beads right at this point.
And
Get
then
closer.
look for
Watch
valleys
your
on the moon. It's getting darker and darker, cooler and cooler.
Coming up on 2
breezier and
minutes.
Breezier.
2 minutes
Wow. 2
and Mark, 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Just a
Oh man.
sliver.
Whoa!
The excitement here, everyone. For those of you at home, I mean, we're starting to feel it now. It's everyone's eyes are glued. Using still, of course, solar protection until it's safe to do so.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh my goodness, everyone. I am just delighted to share this with you all. It's the middle of the day, peoples, and it's going dark.
90 seconds, Mark.
90 seconds.
I should say, in your honor, Tim, T minus.
T minus.
T minus. Sure. T minus.
Gotta get that countdown.
Fuel load is go.
It's dark.
T minus.
Dark.
We're ready for main sunshine cutoff.
Coming up on 1 minute.
I like to.
T minus 1 minute, Mark.
Mark. Main photon cutoff.
Watch for the shadow.
And just to keep the drama, there's that hole in the clouds. Yeah. Where will it go?
Right on the edge.
Oh, it's gonna be
right on the edge of the sun. Oh, here it comes.
Wow.
Oh, man. We are so fortunate, everyone. Just let's be in the moment. Let's appreciate that we are together for this.
Very dark here.
T-minus 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Going from glasses to not glasses was like literally day and night, and now it's just dark.
Oh, it's so dark out here. All right, everyone.
15 seconds.
Oh my gosh, you can just see it watching, getting darker.
Here it comes, people.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Totality.
It is dark still. Notice how much darker it is on the west than it is over on the east. That's the path of the moon coming in. And soon.
So look over to the east, you can see the edge.
There it comes! Look at that! Fantastic! You see the beautiful corona. Ooh. Look how dark it is now, people.
Heidi, we got a touch of the corona there?
Love it. Look at the corona, it's beautiful.
Oh my God.
This is awesome. Fantastic.
Oh, it's cold and it is dark.
Cold and dark.
Okay, everybody be very quiet for a few seconds. Let's see if we can hear nature reacting.
So you can go no glasses for these few minutes.
You can see a star off to a little bit to the right.
And the clouds kind of have this pinkish red to them. It's pretty cool.
Notice that it's getting bright again over to the west.
Yeah.
That's the end of totality pulling in.
Look how dark it is, everyone.
There it comes again.
And the breeze has changed.
There it comes, there it comes.
Oh, wow, wow, wow.
Oh my God.
There's a black hole in the sky.
Oh, man.
Black hole in the sky.
We are about halfway.
Halfway.
There's a nice hole coming up in the clouds that hopefully will line up.
Oh, man. Look how dark it is off to either side. We're in the middle of the path. Yeah, a moment ago. Oh my goodness, everyone. April 8th, 2024.
Here we
Shared
come
experience
again.
with the Planetary
Here we come
Society
again.
members. Oh, wow.
All right.
Oh, it's as if by magic.
I hate to say it, everyone, but remember, when you see the return of the diamond ring, it's time to put your glasses back on.
Please, please put them back on.
But here we go.
Oh,
Oh, wow, everyone, wow.
Beautiful.
Magic, there's the diamond. Just starting. Oh. It's a solar flare, thank you, yes. We saw a solar flare through the clouds. We are so fortunate to have the process of science to reveal this to us. Proud to know you.
here it is again. The last view is coming in. It's getting quite a bit brighter off to the horizon. Yes. Yes. Oh, look at the red. Look at the prominence. About 5 o'clock. That's a prominence. It's beautiful.
A solar prominence down there around 5 o'clock.
See that
clock
pink?
face?
That's
Yeah.
the pink
What is-
prominence.
What is that?
That's a big jet of plasma blasting out of the sun.
And the size of many Earths?
Probably, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
It's getting brighter.
It's bright. Look off in
got a
front of
nice
us. It's
little
getting brighter. Oh, wow, everyone.
Beautiful. Okay, this is a diamond ring. It's time to put your glasses back on.
I'm hoping for a double image. I want to see sunlight going through lunar mountains.
Please be sure you put your glasses back on in case the clouds clear.
And dawn returns to the Texas Hill Country.
Sunlight.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just experienced Totality.
Love it. Love it.
Oh, man, look at this.
All right,
Coming
definitely.
back.
Glasses back on.
Use
back.
those
He's
glasses.
coming back.
Glasses
Use
back
those
on.
glasses. Thank you, Maria, for helping us with the countdown. Sure, of course. Thank you.
Glasses on, people.
Beautiful.
Just incredible. Tim, your reaction.
I mean, that was, yeah, you're almost speechless. It just doesn't feel right. You know, it just feels like this is what's going on, and why does the sun have a giant black hole in it? You know, and it's phenomenal. That to experience with a crowd of people is so fun too. So, and also for all the people watching with us at home. I mean, hopefully you could hear and feel some of the excitement that we shared. It is just surreal, and we were lucky enough to
Now
get
the
these little
lights-
pockets.
The light's coming back. Oh, man. What an experience. Oh, it's just
Bethany Ehlmann.
wonderful.
Yeah, spectacular, right? We've got a real treat with that prominence off to the side, too.
So is that plane
the
trying to
clouds
keep
made it
up
more
with
dramatic.
Maybe.
Heidi, how did this compare to your? How many of these have you seen?
This is the fourth one. And, you know, the clouds made it more exciting.
They did,
Because
absolutely.
you never knew when your glimpse was going to appear.
And it's happening again, my friend.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, yeah, you know.
Glasses on. Yeah.
It was great.
The clouds added drama, like Halloween. It's spooky, amazing.
Yeah, let's do this again sometime.
So I'll see you in 20 and a half years.
Wait, not tomorrow? You guys don't meet here tomorrow? Oh, it doesn't work like that, does it?
So, Matt, you just celebrated another orbit of the sun.
I did, yes, 2 days
So
ago,
we'll
right
see
here.
We'll see you in 20 and a half years.
Thank you. I look forward to it. Love to. Might not be able to wait that long. Might have to go somewhere else in the world.
Become a chaser.
Yeah. What's that? Spain in 2026?
Oh, that's coming
I'll see
right
you
up.
there.
It's coming right up.
Oh, we got so lucky, Tim.
Oh, man, we nailed it. We just nailed it. You guys, I'm doing that thing you do. You just stare at it. It's just...
Tim,
syzygy, people, syzygy.
You had a couple of cameras tracking this, right?
Yeah, our scopes were over there, dialed in, hopefully, and hopefully those little glimpses between those clouds. Yeah. Hopefully we got something cool, and hopefully our live stream got to see something cool too. So, yeah, I mean, the fun thing is imagine how many telescopes along the path were doing the same thing. I mean, I can't wait to see social media today. I'm sure it's just lit up with unbelievable images.
Absolutely.
Matt,
yeah.
you should ask
Heidi.
our sweepstakes winners what they thought of that.
Oh, where are they? Where's Valerie? Valerie and Astronaut. Hey, I'm going to jump down, and I'll talk to you, and then we might go to Sarah. Winner of the Prizeo sweepstakes that I bet a whole bunch of you joined. Valerie, congratulations.
Thank you so much. This is so cool.
Was this what you were hoping?
Oh, it was so much more than I had even expectations. The darkness, the chill, the excitement, the clouds, like this was perfect.
Ashok, what are you doing way over there? Was this your first?
Yeah, it was my first. That was really cool.
Congratulations, folks. Glad you could join us for this. I think, Tim, that Sarah is out there ready to talk to some more folks. Straight out that way. Sarah.
Hi, I'm out here. That was amazing, folks. How did that feel? Here, I'm going to take this to Heidi. I don't know if you guys know Heidi over here. She is one of our greatest space advocates. How was that moment?
It was really cool. I've never experienced totality before, so it was amazing to just kind of, like Heidi described, just see the sun just go poof, be gone from the sky, and it become totally dark and just like night. And my brain didn't know what was happening. Like, I knew intellectually what to expect, but my brain had no idea what was happening. And it was actually very beautiful to see how the solar prominences and the Bailey's beads and that whole cycle was really interesting to see.
Really well said. I think you summed it up for all of us. Everyone, give some cheers for Heidi. Hey, Heidi. Thank you so much. I feel like this is one of those moments that sticks with us forever. Did this in any way change the way that you feel about our place in the universe?
Ooh. I've been a science educator for 30 years, so I feel like I already had a good emotional connection to where we are, but this cemented it. I've never seen all of these effects before. I've seen one total eclipse from the air, but never from the ground. And I wanted to give a quick shout out to my teenager who wound up being unable to accompany us. So, Kit, I hope you saw as close to totality as you could in New Jersey.
I think a lot of us are here sharing our love of space. I personally have my brother here as well, and I'm so happy that I got to share that moment with him, because these are the things that like bond us together. We're going to be talking about this forever, and hopefully wherever you are out there, Isaac, I think we're going to go on a trip to the next eclipse. I see that you had some feelings about totality. How was that?
This is revenge for 2017. I was in Asheville, North Carolina, in the mountains up there, and it was clear as a bell all morning, and then just before totality, a big old cumulus cloud rolled right in front of the sun, and we were waiting for a gap, and it didn't come. And so glad 7 years later, 1,000 miles further, I finally got to see it. Thanks for being here with me, all.
The quality of the lighting during that, even if you know it's coming, is so surreal. What did that feel like?
Well, it's surreal, but in this particular one of the ones I've seen, the solar maximum is nearby, so the corona was much more active, and there was a full ring around the moon, which was very neat, especially when the solar prominence appeared. That red-orange flare was really great to see, a kind of different diamond ring.
Sarah, you got any young people out there that we might be able to say hi with?
Are there any
Say hi
people
to?
out here who would like to tell us about the eclipse experience? I'm guessing I don't have to ask, was this your first total solar eclipse?
Yes. Apparently my big sister Lizzie heard some crickets.
Heard the crickets? I mean, the animals do such strange things during the eclipses.
Yep.
Was it really weird that it went all dark like that?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that and for bringing your sister and everyone together here. Would you like to tell us how the eclipse was?
Good.
Did you already love space, or do you feel like you love space more after seeing that?
La.
Do you love space?
La.
What's it like being able to share a moment like this with your children? This is such a moment.
It was incredible. I've been bawling like the whole time. It was really neat to share this with my kids and to get to show it to them. And already, some of them are like, Mom, in 2045, we are going. I'm not giving you a choice. And it's actually the path of totality then is going across Lassen, and we only live about 2 to 3 hours from Lassen National Park. And I'm like, it's on the calendar. We're going. So
we're going. I feel like I'm going to design all of my travels for the next rest of my lifetime around this. Anybody else over here want to share their experience? I know you were really excited about it. How about you? How did you feel?
It was really amazing being able to see almost complete darkness in the middle of the day.
It is a really surreal thing. The kind of sunsetty nature of the horizon really like impresses upon you just like how beautiful the moment is. Do you ever think about the fact that like you never get to see this on other planets? We're in a very special place in space.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that we have a large enough moon to be able to experience this complete darkness from a solar eclipse.
Sarah, I'm going to bring things back up here. Thank you for letting us hear from some of you folks out there.
Thank you so much, everyone.
I think that they spoke for a lot of you up there. Tim Dodd, I think that we need to wrap up our time with you.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get back to hosting and on live, so everyone at home can get their questions answered. Or I'm excited to hear from them. If people might have been the continent of the United States is going to see something today, whether it be partial or total, basically. So it'll be fun to see from people that are also tuning in and what they feel, what they see, and some of their experiences. So I'm going to get over there and.
Before you go, can you say anything about what you're looking forward to with the great work that you and your team do?
Oh, man. There's a lot of fun things that we're excited about. I think this year, more rocket chasing down at Starbase. They're going to be launching a handful more times this year, hoping for 3 or 4 more launches. So we're really excited about that. We're working on a lot of big videos right now that I'm excited about, too. We're editing a video. I got to tour 2 rocket companies in Europe. And so we're putting them together, and it's fun because they're companies that are very different philosophies, like 180 degrees opposite of each other. And so we're cutting back and forth when they're talking about their decision-making. So it's really fun to see those. So working on a lot of fun things like that, but mostly just enjoying all the fun things that there is to see in spaceflight and rocket science and space science. So exciting stuff.
Keep it up. A lot of us out there love your coverage, and I think you may have made some new friends today.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for having me up here as well.
Tim Dodd of Everyday Astronaut.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you about.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
All right. We still have a little over an hour to go here on
Okay. I think I had.
Understand
Am I still live now? I think I'm live. All right. So we're going to be heading back over to the hosting tent. So I don't know. I don't even know if this is working or not because we're trying we're doing all sorts of crazy things for you guys. But so what we just did is saw the solar eclipse, and I know you guys have probably seen me when I do rocket launches. Sometimes I get either really loud or speechless. Like there's 2 sides. This is a weird thing because there's so much anticipation, and then it was emotional though because you're like, it finally is happening, and we're sitting there watching, and the clouds are just kind of going in and out. I don't know what you guys got to see at home, but it was, for me, to have it finally, like when you had those moments of clarity where you're seeing it with your own eyes. I wanted to scream, but I was trying to be polite, on the live stream and polite with, all the guests and all the considerations there. But oh my gosh, it was so cool on our end. I had a blast. This has been months in the making for our team here to be able to bring you guys coverage. And yeah, I'm going to switch mics so you might hear a very slight difference, but 1 second here. Check 1 2. You guys still got me? All right. How was it for everybody? I am curious, chat. I want to know how you guys felt. On our end, I'm a little choked up, honestly. I had to try not to cry a little bit because it is just this weird thing. Like your brain just kind of goes like, what is this? What am I looking at? Pretty wild. And you can tell now. You can even see on our screen that it's still quite dark here, which is. Just wild. To come here during the day, it feels like a really big storm just came through. Actually, is what it kind of feels like. That feeling in the air after a big storm hits. But minus all the everything's fine. There's no water. I don't know. That is something. And the fun thing is, there's going to be more and more and more people experiencing that are in the line of the path of totality today. So. I'm excited to see social media because I know there's going to be some really creative people doing some incredible things with cameras and with video. And I'm just excited to see what people's other experiences are because I remember watching videos of this in 2017 to see, or watching social media in 2017 when people were experiencing it. And everyone's experiences are always a little bit different. So yeah, I don't know. I had a great time. It's fun with doing it with a crowd of people here and having people to share this with is something pretty wild. Oh, how did we get here? This is one of those times of how fortunate are we that I'm able to be here? Again, I'm so thankful for the Planetary Society for inviting me out to this, and allowing us to be here and and the fact that they entrusted us to help, provide coverage for our fans and theirs as well. And I assume there's a big Venn diagram of everyday astronaut spaceflight fans and people that are fans of Planetary Society and the work that they do, because a lot of what Planetary Society does is, a lot of lobbying things with Congress and a lot of politics, which is things that I don't like, but I'm glad other people are working on that stuff and dealing with that stuff, because it does make a big difference at the end of the day. So that's why I have been a member of the Planetary Society for over 10 years. And and I would encourage you, if you want to support the work that they do, a huge team of people, planetarySociety.org/everyday. I mean, again, it's not just the people that you see on stage. There's a whole group of people and people that work with them all around the United States to help push scientific. A lot of big things. It'll help push scientific literacy, in schools, and just a lot of big important things. So this is we'll get to a few chats, because why not? We're just hanging out now. We're just gonna watch it get brighter and more daylighty. From Ian Barron, hi everyone watching. Hope you are doing well and having a great day. It's my 50th birthday today, so everyone in chat, please welcome. Give Ian wish him happy birthday. What a cool day to have a birthday on a solar eclipse. I mean, come on, does it get much better than that? I don't know if it does. That is fantastic. Here's a question from. This is a fun question. We're just gonna hang out now because, at this point, why not? What else do we have going on today on a Monday afternoon? Tommy asking, how much did the suit cost? I've always wondered that. The suit, I believe, was $325 plus shipping, which is actually insane. Like, that is so inexpensive. Normally, just those helmets, the white helmet that I have, I'll see those go for over $1,000 often. Like, they're normally between like $1,000 or $2,000 when you see them pop up online half the time. Just depends. I feel like there's like a market of them, like Pokemon cards or something. But yeah, I think I bought it for $300 and something, $25, maybe $375. And if I would have ever guessed that silly suit was going to change my trajectory as to my career and who and what I'd be doing for the rest of my life, I could have never guessed, and I could have never planned. What a world. Let's see here. This is the suit reminds Bine saying, reminds me of the great sci-fi book Have Spacesuit Will Travel. Yes, 100%. Let's see here. We got a lot of chats. Don't forget, guys, if you guys are in chat, we'll pull stuff up into the queue here. Get your questions. Again, I think we'll have a few more words here from a couple of scientists here at the end. We're going to wrap up the coverage here in about 35 minutes. And meanwhile, we're just going to be reacting. I wonder if there's a way, if we had anything recorded that. How did it look, by the way, in the booth? Did we actually get? Okay, so it sounds like we got some decent shots of it. Is there a way that we could eventually replay those within the next half hour? Cool, that'd be great. So we're going to work on seeing if we can get some of those to replay for us, because I want to see how it turned out for you guys, because I have no idea. I only have my own experience. This is from Michael Maxey. Solar eclipse in Fredericksburg is nearing diamond ring before totality. This is obviously a message from probably about 20 or 30 minutes ago, so thank you so much, Michael. Greatly appreciated. From Anur, you're welcome. Thank you for joining our event. I mean, this is awesome that you guys are hanging out. And, like I said, my goal with Everyday Astronaut is bringing space down to Earth for everyday people is the goal of this channel, and is the goal of the whole philosophy of what I've been doing. And normally, again, of course, that's rocket launches, but the whole, I've had this different philosophy that I do want to help, just kind of be a vessel so that you can experience it with me, and sometimes that means, you see my emotions. Sometimes it means you see my frustrations or my excitement or whatever. And we always try to be pretty casual in that nature so that you can feel like you're actually just kind of here hanging out. And this is a good opportunity that I should remind you. I'm going to give you a little plug right now that I do have a podcast called Spacewalk Podcast. And definitely hop on over there. Spacewalk Podcast. It's a separate YouTube channel, but you can also find it wherever, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Google Podcasts is actually no longer a thing. We had a lot of people asking about that. It's all switched over to YouTube Music, I think, now. But I have a podcast now. If you want to hear just more of me rambling about things, yeah, you can go there. It's you can find it Spacewalk Podcast. I was not able to do one this week. We have all the questions queued up. It has been a wild weekend as we prepare for this and traveling all around. I know that's no excuse because the whole point of this is to be doing it willy-nilly, but it's been like just constant inundation. So I'll be recording one here in the next couple days, and we'll get that up here for you shortly. But the idea there is this just a casual conversation, and that's what I want this stuff to be, because we make these productions that are really, really long form, really in depth. But we want to always be able to just kind of have something to connect on, and the podcast is just a really fun, just easy way to stay connected and just hang out. Not be this formal setting. So, okay, we've got some replay that we're gonna check out, and here we go. This is from Ryan's Ursa, really. So yeah, obviously, as you guys know, since you already saw this, that it kind of goes in and out of the clouds. But oh, there we go. Here we go. Oh, that is so sick. It's so funny how you could, yeah, there's that little thing down on the bottom right. Yeah, there's a flare big enough to be visible like that. I mean, that is crazy. I love that. That is so crazy. That's nuts. And that's through, like, there's still a decent amount of clouds. Every now and then we got a pretty good, like, right there, decent cloud break, and then it rolls back in. I mean, at least we got something. That's better than I think I got in 2017. We saw almost nothing. We saw one, like, 4-second glimpse, I feel like, whereas, like, maybe about as good as a little bit of that. But we saw a good amount of those here today, so that makes me happy because, yeah, our team came from all around the United States, of course, between the Everyday Astronaut team and the Cosmic Perspective team coming together. Obviously, it's fun for us because the van, our production van, normally lives down, at Starbase or near Starbase, and super fun for it, for us to be able to use it like this because it's only 5 or 6 hour drive or whatever. But actually, it's probably almost more like 7 to here. I said that. I think I've been lying to people when I said 5 hours or 6 hours. It's a decent drive from right here. It's okay, about 6. So not terrible, but it's nice that we didn't have to drive. I don't know if you guys were around when we were taking the van between the coast to coast with Artemis 1 and then back to Vandenberg Space Force Base for Firefly mission. But that was insane. That we had to go back and forth, and it was a lot of driving. Ryan and I became great friends because we had no other choice because we were stuck in a van together for like 2 weeks at a time. It was awesome. Let's see here. This is from Santiago MC. Thanks for keeping video exposure. A lot of streams ruining Eclipse with exposure compensation. Yeah, it's a natural thing to want to do, obviously. But I think it's most telling and it's most impactful when you do see how dark it actually goes. Yeah, it is pretty wild, honestly. So our producer actually says that Andrew says we actually did some exposure compensation, but it was still just that dark that it still just looked dark because it is. If we had done no exposure compensation on our cameras, you would have just seen like it would just been a black screen, and so there obviously was some, but pretty wild, honestly. This is from Easy Evie. This was way better than. Oh man, yeah, that replay is still going, and it is still fantastic. This is from Easy EV. This was way better than the standard video of the eclipse alone. Seen that a million times. I love hearing the joy and passion of the presenters and the crowd. Amazing to see how dark it gets. So thank you so much, Easy EV. That was definitely the whole idea. Again, I know not everyone can be here. I know not everyone can join us and hang out with us. But to be able to at least bring you guys into this, it's pretty fun. So, yeah, pretty darn awesome. So this is from Ryan Holden. I'm in the UK, and that was amazing from your side. We are getting about 5% coverage. I'll go see that. Yes, it's so in Europe. Yeah, again, 2026 there will be a total solar eclipse in Spain. If you're in Europe, I think you kind of have to get your butt over there. It's definitely worth it to be able to experience it. Yeah. That sounds like a good excuse to go to Spain, in my opinion. Let's see. Maddie asks, will you ever have everyday guests on the pod, really breaking space down for people who you're talking to live? That's a good idea. I have actually thought about, like, these are walk and talks. I've thought about way back in the day on the channel we used to do Today-ish in spaceflight history. And that's where we would cover, I'd have my friend Jacob over, and we would cover spaceflight events. And it was super fun because he would just ask goofy questions. They were sincere questions most of the time, half the time a little maybe goofier. But he would just ask questions, and I would just answer them. And to me, that's like still one of my favorite formats. And I would love to kind of do that. However, people are asking, well, why don't you, get, Tori Bruno or something on? It's like, if I'm going to do a podcast with Tori Bruno, I want to have video going, and I want it to be ideally in, a facility where we're showing stuff. Podcasts are, the idea of these are supposed to be extremely low production, where we don't have video to deal with. We don't have any of these other things. If it's going to be anything else, then we'll just put it on the main channel and just be a video. But podcast, we might get some people walking and talking. That might be fun. So, this is from Ryan P. The team did an amazing job. Thank you so much. This is from the scope, one of the scopes, a replay here. Oh, heck yeah. 60 frames a second. That's crazy. That's at ISO 6400. Wow. That tells you just how dark it is at 1/60th of a second. That's insane that it takes that much light when the sun is blocked out like that. So those of you that are photography or video nerds, you probably have some appreciation for just how crazy that actually is. That's like cranked, and it's just still pitch black, aiming right at the sun. I mean, obviously there's clouds in the way there for a few of those shots, but it still, and it's, oh, that's right, it's going through a solar filter. That's right. We probably could have, if we were, filter was off during totality. There we go. Good. I was gonna say, I think that's what the kind of the norm would be, is remove the solar filter, just like we were wearing our solar glasses on and off, off during totality, but on as soon as you start to see the diamond ring again. This is from Khaled. Where did you think you would be 5 years later after you first bought the suit? That's a good question, because at the time, I really wanted I remember thinking, like, I just want to go viral on Instagram, basically, with this spacesuit. That was the biggest dream, was like, imagine if I had, like, 100,000 followers on Instagram with the spacesuit or something. And obviously things took a much different turn than what I could have ever imagined. And obviously, in my opinion, I think a better turn than 100,000 followers on Instagram. To be able to produce educational content was not what I had envisioned. I thought I was going to be doing a lot of, like, speeches, live speeches. I was going to be writing a children's book, was in my original plan when I got the suit. I was like, I'll make this into a children's series, The Everyday Astronaut, and he'll run around and do things with his buds. I had no idea. That's what's so fun about this whole project, is it's always kind of evolved and become, wow, look at that image. Sorry, we're still watching our replays here. That must be near the end, because look at how bright dang. That's crazy. Sorry, I'm distracted now by our own footage. But there you go. Man. It's already so crazy that all this lead up and build up, and now it's already over. It's almost a bigger letdown than rockets. Like, rockets, I feel like you get there's a lot more adrenaline involved, I think, in a rocket launch. This is a different emotional feeling for sure. This is from Minia Costin, saying the next few years will be crazy for eclipses in Spain. There's a total in 2026, another total in 2027, and then a partial in 2028. Is that right? There's 2 totals a year apart. I don't know enough about that, but that'd be really fun to organize a stream from there and visit. That'd be a lot of fun. I mean, obviously, I love everything about Europe. I love visiting Europe, and that'd be super fun. This is from Gabita, saying, so glad the Planetary Society and Tim joined forces for this. Loved it. Thank you. Yeah, they did such an amazing job of putting on this event out here. It had been, months or probably a year plus in the making on their side for the Planetary Society. And, it's so fun for them to be able to do that and for us to be able to handle the live stream side of things. is quite an honor and quite a pleasure. So I'm obviously very honored to be here and very excited, and had a lot of fun just being able to hang out with everybody. So so obviously, as you guys know, I'm just a fan of everything nerdy, and including things that go fast, which means rockets most of the time, but cars and all those types of things, motorcycles, everything. Wikipedia still thinks I was a motorcycle mechanic, a professional motorcycle mechanic. I never was. I mean, technically, I made money. I used to work on motorcycles. I'd buy them. My first motorcycle ever didn't have a second gear. The fork was totally like ground, so someone didn't use the clutch enough. And it is hard between first and second is neutral on a motorcycle, so it's easy to get a worn out fork on a second gear. So that was the first thing that I ever did. Was I bought a motorcycle, tore it apart, and worked on it when I was 18, and then flipped it for made profit off of that. So I guess technically, in that sense, I was a professional, but nothing more than a hobbyist, really. But I just love that kind of stuff. But then, like I was saying, rocket launches are so there's a lot of adrenaline, and this is not really an adrenaline thing. It's just more of it's just I don't know. It's just a surreal feeling, because it's nothing in our control. It's nothing that we had any say in or had anything to do with. So it's honestly pretty exciting just to be able to witness it with people, get that excitement. The adrenaline comes from the people all cheering and joining. So. On that note, speaking of cheering and joining with a crowd of people, we have the pleasure of having Bill and I back in the studio with us.
Good to see you. Yes, fabulous. What a fantastic experience. I know everybody goes on and on about, but we're not kidding. Saw a couple things I'd never seen before, and it's wonderful.
What were the couple things what was new for you?
Well, so we're in the middle pretty much of the eclipse, of the path, pretty close. But because of the cloud cover, light is going into the clouds and being dispersed. Diffused is the word, diffused. So way off to the east, you could see the clouds were lit up at first. And then they went dark. And then there's a breeze right now, but the breeze stopped. It was sort of the opposite of my memory from 2017. So I guess the airflow was the other, blocked the wind, essentially. And then we saw, everybody's amazed, freaking out. Let me be in the moment. I mean, I want to take a picture, but let me be in the moment. And then you could see the sunlight march toward us through the clouds. In the clouds. It was spectacular. But in between, I think the greatest moment was that prominence, that solar prominence. There was this bzzz, except in space there's no sound. It was of a bright corona blasting off the sun. I guess the blast of plasma, so-called charged particles hurtling out into space in a very powerful magnetic field. It was really something, and the clouds enabled us to see it, I think, I'm sure, in a way we couldn't have without the clouds. So, boy, it was a great day. It was really great. And it was not done, but it was a great day.
And, and the fact that we got those breaks every now and
then.
Yeah,
it added drama.
We've kind of got some replays here. You can see on the left side of the screen.
Oh,
there,
yes.
And you can see that prominence so well.
Down there, I was saying it's about 5 o'clock, but maybe it was closer to 4:30. I see. Yeah, it's down in the lower right.
Yeah,
this blast of stuff. Well, more, 5:30. This blast of stuff out into space.
And you're right. The clouds kind of help almost make that more
because
visible.
There was more light being diffused around it. It was very nice.
Wow.
But the whole thing is, it goes dark. Everybody, what's going on in the middle of the day? Does anybody know? Yeah, astronomers know, dead on.
I wonder if there's people out there. I mean, the highways are lined with signs saying, total solar eclipse Monday. But I imagine there's someone that wasn't paying any attention. And all
there's guys out here clearing the weeds out of the blue bonnets over here. Yeah, were they paying attention? I think so.
Wouldn't that be funny to just see someone's reaction, a genuine reaction of, wait, what's going on?
Well, those were I'm sure in ancient times that was something that was going on.
Oh, I bet I can, it's funny enough for us to know what's going on, still have this reaction of like, it's a magical, almost unexplainable feeling. Can you imagine if you didn't know how to explain it?
Oh, man.
You would go nuts. You would think you're losing your mind.
Yeah.
You'd have to almost imagine that you're being punished or something, you know, and that the sun's being taken away from you or something.
But then when it starts to come back, as it is right now, you go, wow, cool. I guess I'm forgiven or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not my time. Yeah.
It was so fun, though, to just share that with, you know, all the different people and hearing the hoots and hollers and you had the live gauge almost of, it'd be fun to have an audio spectrograph against the visible because our excitement rose exactly with
B. Takor, you know, is on the board of the Planetary Society. He's got this citizen science thing going, and you submit video or pictures and audio to this website. So check it out at citizenscienceplanetary.org/eclipse. You'll find it.
So that people can submit their own video and photos and
for the next week. Yeah.
Okay.
I believe the QR code is there.
So is there actual science that, you know, from all of our cell phones? I wonder if there's anything that someone will come up with based on, you know, geolocations and all of these things that.
Well, I think that's what she's working on. You know, she's a big software engineer. B. Takor. Bijan is her name. She lives in Britain, but she was in Mexico and she came here to be with us today. She's on our board of directors. And
amazing.
She's all that, as the kids say.
That is fantastic. What else is on for the docket for here tonight for the people here at the Eclipse-O-Rama? What else?
Well, if you're here, we're going to have programs all afternoon where we get these extraordinary scientists delivering lectures. And then tonight, we will watch one of the original Cosmoses with Carl Sagan, a shared experience. Contact. We're going to watch the movie Contact based on the novel by Carl Sagan. And that film stands the test of time. It was a cool idea. What if we got contacted by alien civilization? How would that go down? Yeah. Just a cool scientific premise.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but
premise.
I feel like it hit me more. You know, I think the last time I watched it, I was, you know, young, 16 or something, or whenever it came out.
Kid.
Just a kid, and I wonder how it hit me now differently. Because it's such a profound, concept and a beautiful movie as well.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So what else? Let's see. We got to get you, I think. Are you wrapping the show up with us? Or are you?
Right now?
Okay, so I just heard you're with us until the end. So
end.
Yeah, until the very, very, very end. So we get about 10 more minutes with you. So why don't
10 more minutes till
10 minutes until the end of all time for this live stream. So what are you excited about for the next year in 2024? This had to have been one of the biggest things on your calendar.
This is for the Planetary Society. This was great. There'll be the rocket launch of Europa Clipper, spacecraft that is going to go to the moon of Jupiter, that has twice as much ocean water as Earth, and so you just can't help but wonder if you have ocean water for 4.5 billion years. Are there living things? Salty water?
Space whales?
Are there, Europanian fish people swimming around there under the ice, you know, telling hilarious Europanian fish person jokes? And do they have an awareness of outer space? If you live your whole life, the whole evolutionary timeline on Europa would be under the ice. Do you have an awareness? Has someone gone up to the underside of the ice where there's a fissure shooting a jet into space, and you've been blasted off, and you've told stories about?
There's folklore about that.
Yes, folklore about the ice and the ceiling, and there's a fabulous for you, of course. Not all at once, but for the original Star Trek people, For the World is Hollow and I've Touched the Sky, where there's a spaceship with generations of people who remarkably look like humans and speak English, and they come to realize that they're inside a giant spaceship. Yes, how cool! And then of course the Starfleet people show up, and everything is fine. It's fine, you know. We have a big deal that we have to be very cognizant of, be aware of, is not contaminating. Let's say, just kick the camera guy. No. I kid because I love. You have to be aware of not contaminating, for example, Mars. So the same thing that makes a place interesting to land on Mars makes it also possible to be where life still is extant on Mars. You know, that people are speculating now that once life gets started, let's say it got started on Mars. Mars is smaller than the Earth, so it cooled off 1 billion years before the Earth. It got an ocean, it got an atmosphere 1 billion years before Earth. Did life start on Mars? And is it a thing where you just can't kill it? Like there are Martian microbes, Marscrobes, living under the sand and salty water somewhere near the equator of Mars. It would just be an extraordinary thing. So, you know, Mars gets hit with impactors, and they go woo, 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 out into space and fall here, except there's no sound. It's just... And they land here, and that would imply or suggest that you and I are descendants of Martians. And if we find these Marscrobes, do they have DNA? Or are they a whole nother completely different thing?
Right.
It is a worthy hypothesis to investigate.
Well, and again, back to Europa Clipper, I mean, you just a completely different set of circumstances for what life could, you know, how it could have started and what its conditions are. No sunlight, you know, I mean, what would life even look like? All these, I mean, it's almost impossible to imagine, but that's why we go and explore, is to try to see what things we can uncover. And the Europa Clipper mission is, it's a long journey, right? Isn't it? Like
a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah, it depends on the size of the rocket.
It's on Falcon Heavy now, if I recall.
Yeah. This SLS still hasn't gotten ready enough.
Yeah.
Space Launch System.
Yep. So it's going to be Falcon Heavy. And I think if I remember, even on Falcon Heavy, it's still like 7 years or something.
Yeah, very reasonable to get out there and get data. It's just there's so much space in space. Yeah. But a Falcon Heavy launch, everybody. We were there 2019 for the launch of Lightsail 1. Planetary Society spacecraft. Lightsail 2. I was joking. Lightsail 1 is on an Atlas V. Lightsail 2 is on a Falcon Heavy, and is just spectacular. It was 2 in the morning, bright light. Oh my goodness! Thing goes up, everything shakes. Your clothing shakes, your hair shakes, everything shakes, and it's loud. And then you see it go over the top, as they say in space flight, getting it on orbit, and then the 2 boosters come down and land like throwing darts. It was just spectacular. And then the spacecraft worked. Crying out loud. We built orbital energy with photons from the sun, and we were able to maneuver in orbit, which was a big question. Could you maneuver it's not a especially big spacecraft, but it has a lot of inertia because all the mass is so spread out. And it worked. We pulled it off. And all funded by you, by members of the Planetary Society. And, you know, just to go on and on about us. It cost all in, the 2 missions cost about $7 million. Now, we did get a ride, as the expression goes, through a program sponsored by NASA for education. And that was really good. But the spacecraft people... We had consultants who were really working this business, building spacecraft all the time. We did it for about a 1/20th of the cost of what it would be for a conventional space agency like NASA. And, of course, there are risks. You know, the first one didn't work for a while. And these guys, this is what these guys do. Tim, they say, oh, don't worry, there'll be a cosmic ray. And the computer will reboot.
A cosmic ray is going to
and it happened. It took about 10 days, almost 2 weeks, and then it started working. So on the second one, we had software that worked around that. But it's an example of when you do things for less money, there's more chance of stuff going wrong. But anyway, thanks for having me on here. It's great. It turns out there are insects in Texas. I had no idea.
There are, yeah, and that's actually what's fun about the the emergence of spaceflight is how you guys did that for 1/20th. Imagine in 10, 20 years what types of things we can try out. How big of a solar sail spacecraft can we send out when it's another 10 times, 20 times cheaper or whatever. I mean, it's possibilities are endless.
Reliability goes up because electronics are getting better and better. So. And speaking of Europa Clipper, its electronics are in this crazy titanium vault, which, I mean, it's extraordinary. I used to work in avionics at a company outside of Seattle called Sunstrand Data Control back in those days. Now it's Honeywell, but shielding of electronics and airplane electronics is a huge, complicated deal.
Yeah.
You get into the magnetic field of Jupiter, man. Bzzz. Except it's in space. No. But, wow, it's a real engineering challenge, and I'm confident that the men and women that set it up are going to pull it off.
Yeah, and that's Juno had a similar challenge with
Juno,
that.
yeah,
just
same deal.
Just huge thing to protect all the electronics. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, so, my hero in the history of science is Michael Faraday, who is said to have coined the word electromagnetism. He understood the relationship between electricity and magnetism, maybe for the first time. Ørsted, maybe the other guy, Hans Ørsted. But what an extraordinary thing! And now we have electronics. We've got monitors. We've got glasses. We watch the sun. We all take it for granted.
Yeah.
But what a discovery! Is barely, really, you guys, barely a century ago, century and a half ago. Just think what it will be like in another century. Blah, ha, ha. The next eclipse around here is 20 and a half years.
Yeah.
2044 and then 2045. I very much hope to be here on Earth. When you're of a certain age, you can't count on 20 years, but we're going to do our best.
Yeah, absolutely. And, in 20 years from now, we'll still have the Planetary Society out there fighting for everything, for all the good science, for all the good education, for all of the things. And again, give us the final on our outro here. Let's hear one more time about how people can help support the Planetary Society.
Thank you. So what's your homepage, everyone? Of course, it's planetary.org.
And they can go to planetary.org/everyday even if they want to visit our link.
Visit the link to the Everyday Astronaut. You guys will be there for the next Starship launch, I presume.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So what a time in space exploration. Absolutely the most exciting time since the Apollo era. And I'm old enough to have lived through the Apollo era, inspired by it. But the discoveries that will be made in the next few years or decades will, dare I say it, change the world. So if you want to do something about space, if you want to participate in space exploration, we are here for you at the Planetary Society, world's largest independent space interest organization advancing space science and exploration so that citizens of Earth will know the cosmos and our place within it. Thanks for having me on, Tim. Let's change the world.
Well, thanks for
blow it up.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having us out here. And thanks for all of you for watching at home along with us. Quite a pleasure, quite an experience. And I'm so excited to see all of the excitement on the internet of everyone else that got to experience it. So that's going to do it for me. I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye, everybody.